Welcome to the Hill, everybody. We'll get started here when our host gets up here in a little bit. You should have picked up a catalog and a sale order down in the new sale pavilion, which is just down through the stones here on the other side of the bends. And there should be portable restrooms right there if you need those. There's refreshments inside the sale pavilion as well. Plenty of drinks and whatnot, water and soda, etc. So appreciate you being here today. And again, like I said, we will get started here in just a little bit. 1, 2. We could be. Are we repairing that? Wade, you ready?
This the first group here of belted sows. These are all Goosebumps daughters. I don't know if they did this by design or if it was just sheer coincidence, but the one closest to you up front in the middle is lot 23, and I'm going to try really hard to get these lot numbers right. I know all of them by ear notch. The one closest to you is 5910, and that would be lot 21 is the one closest to you. Lot 21, she would be a mate to the Grand Barrett, Nebraska in 2020 for the Mullinoff family. She's a maternal sister to Ray Ray. Ray Ray would have been the bred gilt that we sold there in 21. That was one of the top sellers. So that's a direct Goosebumps sow. She's actually bred to in-game. I did that. We had a chance to get several doses of in-game on that particular collection day. That boar's, for a boar that age, it was hard to get. It's been hard to get. And I think that's a really neat mating from a female perspective. I mean, obviously, there's been some in-game bears that have done really well in the last 2 years, but I do think those daughters out of that particular mating could be really fun. The one that Wade is driving, again, is lot 23. And, the folks that have asked me for a short list, and Jim McCoy tried to sort of frame up this whole short list thing last night, and I thought that was really interesting that, those of us that are selling stock today, we all get the same questions. It's always about a short list. But this sow ends up on most of my short list. She was a show gilt for the Landry family in Louisiana. She's a Goosebumps Dirty Secret, and her mom actually came from our good buddy in Red Oak, Iowa. There's actually a Duroc sow 3 generations back in her pedigree, Kevin, which I think is pretty neat. You think Duroc and you automatically think black or you think more ear. That's what I would do. Neither one of them show up on a regular basis with this sow. Now, she does throw red, and if that bothers you, buyer beware there. But that's a really neat female. And I would say, for a Goosebump, she's a little bit of an outlier because she's just boxier than most of them. I mean, most of the Goosebumps look more like those two. This one's definitely more boxy, more proportional. That's the buzzword of the day. She's very proportional and still looks like a show gilt. She's been a very good sow. Her last litter was out of dirt bag, and those were neat pigs, and she's bred to absolute this go-around. Last but not least is the skinny one out here, and I saved her for the last for a reason. This sow will be as unassuming as any female we walk in front of you today. And I say that with respect to a lot of the sows in this one's pedigree that have been supreme generators. She is out of the same sow as Carol. She's a maternal sister to Carol. Carol was a Provoked. This one's a Goosebumps. We sold her mom as Lot 1 in 2021. The S Squared crew would have bought her. She turned around and produced a class winner at Denver, the reserve hamp or the champion hamp at Fort Worth, and the reserve crossbred gilt at Fort Worth were all out of that bred sow litter when she sold in 21. So this is a daughter of that sow. Kevin, we would have sold a $50,000 boar prospect out of her in the spring showcase. I got a picture of that pig from Blake Danner yesterday, and if you would like to see how that pig has progressed since March, I'd be happy to forward you that picture. Text me, and I'll be happy to share it. He looks incredible. We sold a $20,000 mate Barrett to him that's in Iowa. So, again, that's a very unassuming sow, but I can tell you that we've stayed in business with sows that are built like that look like that, and that perform like she does, and she's bred to Absolute, and I think it'll be an incredible mating, incredible opportunity. That's 237-8, Lot 4. And again, Wade is driving Lot 23, that's 60-8. And then the other one over here is Lot 21, that's 59-10. And again, those are all Goosebumps. Goosebumps got a page in the catalog, and rightfully so. He deserved it. So. Hello, Raj. They need to unlock the gate and let you in? Okay. I think we've got some 244s coming. The 244 litter was a really fun litter. We had some really friendly banter in the farm between Carl Boots and I about these 244s. Those are three sisters. They're lots 30, 31, and 32 if you turn to that page in your catalog. These are direct Provoked daughters. Their mother was a Dirty Secret sow. She would have brought $17,000 in the 21 sale. She was one of the feature sows, and this is a trio of daughters. I guess there's two of them actually in this group. The other one's in the other pen? Okay. So dash 14 is closest to you underneath the fence or underneath the tent right now. That's 244-14. That'd be Lot 32. And this is her sister, Lot 30. This is dash 12. Dash 12's, I've just always known her as the one with the big tail. She's always had more tail than her two sisters. Those sows are very accomplished. They do an incredible job in the crate. They've made awesome pigs. And, you know, the folks that have asked for the kind of sow to build around to use, those sows have been very versatile. They'll make females. They'll make bears. There's a set of gilts that we reluctantly let go to be show gilts out of dash 13. I'll talk about those in a second when she comes out here. But those sows have done a great job. 14, the one closest to me, is actually bred to Endgame. She was one of those that got bred in that last wean group. She got bred to Endgame. Dash 12, the one closest to you, is bred to Absolute. And again, those are Provoked, Dirty Secret. That's Lot 30, and that's Lot 32 to my right. The one here in front of me is 152-5. She would be a descendant of Miss Abby. She's a never before. Sky's the limit. She's the oldest of those sows that go back to Miss Abby. That's 152-5. That would be Lot 24. She's also bred to Absolute. That sow's done a great job. At one time, we had three of those, and I was really hopeful that we could sell the trio together, and it just didn't work out that way. This is the last one standing, I guess, so to speak. She's been the most productive, the most prolific in the crate, and her resume is very good. She would have had dash 8s this spring, and those gilts were some of my favorite gilts that we took to the slap barn. She will generate a lot of structure. Typically has always generated a lot of structure. We didn't use Never Before a lot because we had Goosebumps and we had Little Bro and we had Kingpin, and so we weren't active in the Never Before thing. But this litter in particular was special from the start, and that's been a really neat sow. Again, that's Lot 24. The one Wade is driving here is 95-8G in your catalog. That's Lot 22. The reason the G is there is there's actually two sows in the catalog with 95-8 notch. This one is actually Gangster's sister, so she's a direct Goosebumps daughter. Her mother and aunt were both in the catalog last year. This one's mother actually died between catalog production and the sale, and we didn't get to showcase her last year. Tremendous sow family. If you go down the line in her pedigree, you'll get to Dirty South's mom. And Jordan Leatherman would have bought her years ago in one of the original Built the Brand sales, and she'll always be one of the very best sows we've sold through this event. And she did awesome things for Jordan and his program. That's continued to be on full display. So this is 95.8G, lot 22. She's also bred to Absolute. She's another one of those that I would tell you is very unassuming in the way that she looks. She's, obviously she looks frailer featured. She does not look heavy structured. She probably doesn't blow you away phenotypically. She will outgenerate way beyond the way she looks in person. There are 3 Cricket's daughters down at the sow barn. Well, there's only 2. One of them's in the crate right now. Kelby 42.4 that would have fared in the double L. She had 10 or 11. We bred her back to Gangster. So that those pigs would be Gangster, Cricket's Gangster sister. Those are going to be really neat females. And they make, from a stoutness and bone standpoint, they make their mom look frail. And I will just tell you that this sow will generate way beyond what she's got. But she looks like a female. Udder's great, does a good job in the crate. And, again, that is lot 22. So if you're watching on Facebook right now, Ellie is driving lot 24. That's the Never Before sow. Wade is driving 244-14. That's lot 32. The big-tailed one that's on front of the camera right now is lot 30. And then last but not least, Wade is going to drive lot 22 back up here. Another Goosebumps daughter out of Gangster's mom. She'd be a litter mate to Gangster. It's hot out here. Whew. Choice of black color was not a good idea for this year. Slim. What? White shirts? Yeah, that'll look really good for the guys that are washing the sow. The skinniest sow in the sale is coming towards you right now. And I wish Kyle and Ellen were here today because I would bet, based on the way this one's bred and based on the kind that Kyle likes, this is what most of the canal sows look like. She is a Breaking Rules. Breaking Rules obviously was the very potent Rule 21 son that's done an awesome job for their program. She's a Breaking Rules on the top side. That is 237.6. She is lot 55. She's a Breaking Rules Dirty Secret. Her mother actually would have sold in a Built the Brand sale. JC, I think you were the lucky buyer of her mom, 275-9, that calico belted sow. This is a Breaking Rules daughter out of her. She's bred to Move the Needle. I haven't talked about Move the Needle yet, not intentionally, but this is the first one that we've seen bred this way. Move the Needle was no doubt the keeper boar from our crop last fall. He's out of the Hilty sow. He is a line-bred Red Alert, top and bottom, so the very potent Red Alert sow that's on the bottom side of To the Extreme. Quite frankly, no stranger, that's also the same Red Alert sow on the bottom side of Move the Needle's mother. She'd be the one that we just sold in the exchange for $70,000 to Ottenwalters. We just weaned our first 2 litters of Move the Needles, and they are really neat. That boar, for one that was that stout and that broad and that burly, still had a really unique front end. His neck extension was really neat. He had a really unique head. His bone was off the charts really at every stage of development, and I'm excited about those pigs. In fact, the litter we just weaned was out of the Cobb Gilt Iggy that we bought at the Expo last summer for $32,000, Carl, I think. She had Moved the Needles. That was our very first litter, and they were very fun to wean. So I think on females like this one, that's typically where we used them, and I think this could be very good. She's one that I will tell you, because of her body condition and because she's black, she'll no doubt be under the radar. But pay attention to that one. I would definitely call her a sleeper. The really stout mugged one that's coming towards the tent is 153.5. 153.5 is lot 28. She's a Dirty South, Dirty Secret, Sky's the limit, Miss Abby. So she goes back to the Miss Abby sow family on the bottom side. We don't have many sows, dirty sows in production right now. This would no doubt be the stoutest one of those. She has always had this sort of head and skull. Geyers would have showed her COVID summer 2020. She was third in her division at Expo. That's the year that Carol won. I think she was third in Division 3. She was a really neat show gilt for them, and they got along really well. The sow that Ellie's got here is 220-3. When they were videoing them that day, Boots sent me a text, and all it said was 220-3, comma, what the heck are we doing here? And I responded, and I said, what do you mean? And he said, well, why is this one in the sale, and what's the deal? He fell in love with this one, and I would tell you that she really fits the mold and the prototype of a traditional HH sow. She's never been way out there in terms of her extreme pieces, but from a build, pattern, look standpoint, she really fits the mold of what's worked for us. Tremendous rear leg function, lots of extension in her hip and up front. She's one of those that's got extension in all the right places. Very athletic, very fundamentally sound, and she gives you a lot of versatility from a mating standpoint. She's actually bred to Slap Happy, and that was a boar that when Boots and I were at Laird's and saw the set of boars they've got, he was easily in my top 5 of the ones that I thought had a lot of utility here with our sow herd. I think we bred 3 to him, and to be honest, I really wish that we could farrow all 3 of them. This is one of the key ones that got bred to him, and I think that mating could be awesome. That boar was 10 kinds of stout, and I think that her advantages will make for really complementary mating on that one. Last but not least is 120-5. Right there, Wade. Yep, that's 120-5. She is lot 54. She's an in the rough, dirty secret. If you go a little further, you're going to find a drop and swag sow in there that would have sold, I think, in the 19 sale. Really good sow family. I've had some folks ask about this one. They recognize her structure. They recognize her skull, her feature. She is certainly all of those things. In the rough was a provoked son from Nate Warner that was a mate to the Grand Gilt at Oklahoma City. And we got him. He was Nate's heat check boar. Carl found out about him, and we got him over here, and he was unique. He was very stout and stamped that kind of feature in all of his pigs. And I would tell you that this sow is a very good representation of him and the kind that he sired, and she will generate that way as well. So she is lot 54. The black sow, again, was lot 55. The one that Wade has is lot 55. The one Ellie has is lot 54. This one with the tag in her ear that's got the really stout head, that's lot 28. And then 220-3 here, the wider belted one, is lot 37. And it's going to sound repetitive, and I know I'll say this probably too many times, but these are the kinds of sows that I think really represent our program. They're not going to be out there on the edge anywhere, but I think structurally, skeletally, I think they really represent the kind that have worked the best for us over the years. The really burly belted one that's leading the pack right now is 144-4. She's lot 45. We've also got lot 50 out here. That's the one that Ellie's got. Lot 50 is a BKS. Bad Boy 189. That's the one closest to the tent is lot 50. The skinny one in the middle is one of my personal favorites. That is lot 29. She's a Goosebumps Dirty Secret. And then the skinny sow is also the oldest sow in the sale. This is 7810. She's an incline. She would be a maternal sister to Little Bro and King of the Hill. She is sort of the last of her kind, so to speak. She's lot 43. And I'll start with her. That's the one that Wade has. She'd be a litter mate to Octagon. That's a boar that we used here for a season, and then Lackey was here, and he really liked him, felt like he was the right fit for some of their sows. He took him down. He made a really neat set of sows. In fact, some of those daughters have been features in the last couple sow sales he's had. and those would have been out of her littermate brother. This one's out of the same sow as Little Bro and King of the Hill, and I think that alone makes her incredibly unique and special. But she's been an awesome generator. She has a huge forearm, and she stamps that. She had kingpins a year ago in the spring. We would have sold a $10,000 barrow out of that litter that went to Iowa. The Woodruff family had him, and then we sold a gilt that Bob Foster had at Ohio State Fair that I believe was third in Division I in the crossbred gilt show, and she was really neat. Boots was out there, and he said that he's never been approached by more people wanting to know what her pedigree was and if she was for sale than that gilt, and she was a kingpin out of the sow. Now, some of you may be looking at her mating and wondering what I was thinking here. She's bred to Frio. Frio is a never-before king secret weapon. The secret weapon sow on the bottom side of his pedigree is a littermate to Gangster's mom. And then the never-before effect there, I felt like was a really good opportunity for the buyer to make some daughters. And to be real frank with you, this sow, I was trying to decide whether we put her in and sell her or whether we keep her because she was older than the rest. Ultimately, we opted to keep her in. The mating from the get-go was where I thought she needed to be from a future standpoint, and I think that's a really neat opportunity to get a shot of never-before in there. This one closest to you that has like a 10-10 underline, it's insane. She's awesome in the crate. She does an incredible job. She's a BKS Bad Boy 189. That's lot 50. Bad Boy 189 was a bad boy son, and from 80 pounds to 280 pounds, I was convinced that we needed to breed the farm to him. God wasn't so convinced because his fertility was awful, and we only got probably 6 or 7 litters ever out of that boar. And that sow on the bottom side was one of the key daughters that we got. But she's a BKS. Those sows have been really good industry-wide. She's a producer. She's a performer. Lot 50, she's bred to Heavy Hitter. If you've not seen Heavy Hitter at Laird's, I would encourage you to take a look at that one. And according to Jake, I think he got exposed to as many good sows as any boar there in their stable. I would argue that it's going to be a good deal there for Heavy Hitter going forward for as many good sows as he got mated to, and we've got some neat opportunities in this sale in particular bred to him. We probably bred 8 or 10 to that boar, and you're getting a chance to buy 3 or 4 of the better ones. This, again, I talked about was one of my favorites. This is 131-8, lot 29. She's a Goosebumps Dirty Secret. Will Hilty would have bought her mom and her aunt. He doubled up and took them both a few summers ago. Kevin, you might have remembered Will was sitting real discreetly out there in a lawn chair and waited patiently. He got the bid, and he walked them both right on out. And that would have been this sow's mother. We're actually selling one out of the other sow as well. This one had a really neat litter out of Quite Frankly here most recently. She's bred to Absolute. I think this could be really, really good. She's always, in my mind, been cut from the same mold as Lot 4. They were in the same contemporary group somewhat. And, if you liked Lot 4 or if you believe the same kinds of things that I do about Lot 4, I think you'll appreciate Lot 29 as well. Again, she's a Goosebumps Dirty Secret. Last but not least is 144.4 the next one. That one. Yeah, 144.4 is lot 45. She's a Prison Rules. Dirty Secret, her mom was actually a Calico. Prison Rules is a boar that we never talked about near enough. He was actually out of the same sow as Kingpin and out of Rule 21 on the top side. So Prison Rules, he would have been out of Kingpin's mother's second litter. And Prison Rules' sister was actually Supreme Champion Gilt at Kansas City for Reagan Rogers. I think, Cantra, did you judge that year, I think, maybe? The Gilt Show at Kansas City. We had a really good show that year. I think it was just because we had a good judge, maybe. I don't know. But that gilt was really unique, and that was Prison Rules' sister. So this is a Prison Rules daughter on the top side, and she is bred to in-game. I don't claim to know the playbook on how to use in-game the best, but those that know it better than me tell me that you've got to take into some muscle and to take into some punch. This one has never been short on either one of those things. She's got muscle. That is true muscle, and I would tell you that that's coming both in part from the Rule 21 influence and the Dirty Sow on the bottom. That Dirty Sow was Southern Swag on the bottom side, and there's just more muscle there than some of these other sows have got. So that's 45. The older sow there that I talked about was lot 43. That's the skinny one. Lot 50 is the second one from the 10th that always has her tongue out. And then the skinny one running alongside the fence there is lot 31. I'm sorry, lot 29. Wade is driving 81-11. No, he's got 12. 81-12. There's two of these 81s in the sale. They are direct King of the Hills. I haven't talked about King of the Hill much. And again, we tended to use probably the boars here more than we did King of the Hill there when King of the Hill was in his prime. But the King of the Hill sows, and I think if you study the four that are in the sale, they are extra heavy duty. Their skull shape, their forearm, the rear leg that they have, the amount of structure that they have is the real deal, and most of that's in part to that boar. This one's out of a dirty 239 sow on the bottom side, and I said this over and over again in the catalog. I think we have more daughters. I know we have more daughters out of that sow on the farm right now than any other sow that we have. She's very prolific. She's always raised big litters, and her daughters are doing the same. And so I can tell you, for the folks that are trying to grab onto something from a performance standpoint in the crate and to try to keep some daughters, pay close attention to those 81s. Again, that's 8112. She is lot 42. Thank you. She's bred to Waspy. And when we get a chance to run Waspy out here in a second, I think you'll understand why she's mated that way. I think this is a very good complementary mating. I think her body shape, her round ribness, as Todd would describe, I think will bode well for that mating. Waspy is a misconception kingpin that we bought at PT. Extra neat look, awesome spread up high. He's got tons of muscle, very athletic. I think it'll be fun for you to see him and then think about that mating. Ellie's got Beth. That's 235-11. That is the sow that Todd and Blake latched onto in 21 as an open gilt, or maybe that was 20. She is lot 25. So she's a King of the Hill out of the Sky's the Limit sow that goes back to Miss Abby. She's been an awesome generator. She had Wingmans the first litter, the boar there at Premium Blend, and we kept two really neat daughters out of that litter. Most recently, she was bred to Fundamental, and arguably our best pig at San Antonio. He won a class in the other crosses the last day in Division 3 for the Martin family. That was a direct son out of this sow, a Ribeiro out of her. She's bred to Absolute. She's been an awesome generator, makes really good pigs. Again, that's 235-11, lot 25. Wade's got 51.8. That is lot 35. She's a JoJo. And this is the very first JoJo bred sow that we're going to offer through the Built the Brand sale. I can tell you the rest of them will no doubt be features and headliners going forward. JoJo, I already mentioned that we didn't jump on the Never Before train quite as quick because we had some other options. But the JoJo thing for us was incredible. Even last summer was still incredible with that pair of gilts that one shows they were grand at that one gilt for Swaim's. She won Division I at Expo Louisville and the Indiana State Fair. Her litter mate was Supreme at Wisconsin, Exarban, and the North American. That was an incredible pair. So those JoJos, I think, are going to be awesome building blocks. This one's actually backed by the Gone Viral sow 2 generations back. So if you see the page in there that really focuses on the Never Before that Cantrell bought, that would be the same family on the bottom side. She's a JoJo Shadow, Gone Viral. Again, this is lot 35, and she's bred to backhand. So we got to that point in the breeding season, and Absolute badly needed a day off. I'd been texting back and forth with Aaron Cobb. He had a backslap son called Backhand that he was very high on. That boar ended up at Southern Gold. and Aaron and I did a little semen trade, and we bred She's got a big hind leg, a big bendy hind leg that works. She's bred to backhand. Again, that's a back slap boar that Cobb's bred. That's a Southern Gold, and that's a mating and a sow that I really like. I think for some folks, she's probably going to be under the radar if they're only scanning through and looking for a certain service sire or a certain sow family. She may be off the radar, but don't miss that sow. I think she's got supreme generating capability, and bred to backhand. I think could be really, really fun. Last but not least is 250-14. Wade, that's lot 44. She's got an orange tag. She's a reflection. Reflection, of course, was a full sib to the bear that won San Antonio in 18. She's a reflection on the top side, and she is lot 44. She's bred to move the needle. Again, move the needle, I would tell you that, as stout and burly and broad as he was every day of his life, we didn't breed him to very many extreme ones in those same areas. We tried to take him to the later maturing ones, the sows that had a little more extension, the sows that had a little more comfort. This is the kind of female that I felt like he might complement the most, and that's where we used him, and we're excited about what we're seeing in the crate. But again, this is lot 44. She's a reflection bred to move the needle. Beth, again, is lot 25. Ellie's got 51-8. Which is lot 35, and the one Dusty's trying to play chicken with is 81-12, lot 42. Low battery. Yeah. Check. Okay, we've got Ellie's got 7-7. That's lot 19. She's a Goosebumps Isaac. I talked about this a little bit on her video preview. Boots and I went over this, but Isaac on the bottom side, Isaac was an ante up. Kirk Swanson came down, and I know Ben Cooley will get a kick out of this story, but Kirk is very traditional in some of the ways that he evaluates pigs, and it was very odd that day because he was in the show barn studying 60-pound boar pigs, trying to find a herd boar. And I thought that was so interesting that he really liked ante up. He really liked the kind that ante up was, and he really wanted a son. He also wanted something that went back to the 5311 Black Attack sow, and he fell in love with Isaac, and he took Isaac home that day. What I want to tell you, though, is Isaac had two sisters, 14311 and 14312. 14312 is the sow that's on the bottom side of all of the Carroll sow family stuff. That's also the same sow that's on the bottom side of Cinderella. So Cinderella, of course, is the acclaimed sow that JD bred that Hilty and Sloan own together. I think she's past the $300,000 mark now, or well beyond that. So Cinderella's great-great-grandmother, I think, was 14312. Carol's great-great-grandmother was also 14312. I may be missing a great in one of those two. but that's the same sow. Their brother was Isaac, and that's the bottom side of 7-7. 7-7 would have had our favorite pig at Houston a year ago. He was second in his Hampshire class at Houston. His sister is nursing a litter of absolutes in the crate right now that are really, really fun to look at. That sow's bred to absolute. I think that could be really fun. That's lot 19. The one closest to you is 13A. She's one of the choice sows in that lot 13. Basically, here's what happened. Slim's here. I'm going to pick on him. Some of our buddies, they reach out and they wanted to know, are you selling any bred gilts, kingpin bred gilts? And while I would love to be able to offer you a kingpin daughter that's carrying her first litter, we don't have such a thing right now. So the closest thing we could do was find a couple of sows carrying their third litter that we felt like would give somebody an opportunity in the prime of their career to jump in on and pick one of these two kingpins. So the one you're looking at right now is 18-7. That's lot 13A. She's a full sister in blood to lot 1 and lot 6. The sows are litter mates. They're sired by the same boar. So she's a full sister to lot 1. And she's bred to heavy hitter. In fact, both of them in the choice slot are bred to heavy hitter, and I think that's a really unique opportunity, again, to snag a litter out of the boar there at Premium Blend. I don't know how that boar's going to sire yet, but based on the way that he looks, in fact, Boots and I were there the same day as Jeremy Cantrell, and I think we all agreed that he was definitely the outlier in that set of boars, a deep set of boars. He was the outlier. And, if it doesn't work on that kind, then I'm going to be dead wrong because I think that looseness, that comfort, the way her skeleton's put together, I think is perfect for a boar like Heavy Hitter. The one that's running away down there is lot 38. That's 22-13. She's a provoked Dirty Secret. If you get into her pedigree, you're going to find Peacemaker. And I want to bring that up because Josh Crone and the crew down there at DL Show Pigs, they're generating some really good pigs right now. And I think if Josh were here today, he would tell you that one of the cornerstones of a lot of those pedigrees is Peacemaker. Peacemaker was a a litter mate to Colt 45 that they bought that had as much staying power, perhaps, as any boar that we generated back then. They made that boar work for several seasons, and those daughters and granddaughters and great-granddaughters now are showing up in all of their pedigrees, and you'll find Peacemaker in hers again. So that's 22-13, lot 38. She's bred to move the needle. Again, 13A is walking there in front of you. That's a kingpin bred to Heavy Hitter. And then Ellie's got lot 19. That's a Goosebumps Isaac that's bred to Absolute. We've got a really fast one coming this time. This is going to be fun. Heidi, make sure you got your camera ready. Carl, how many times did we try to picture this sow? 7 times. Yeah, they all know. 7 times. This one coming right now. I don't know what her problem is. She's not on a normal day. She's fine. But whatever it is, open range. Even the concept of a camera just completely freaks her out. That's 37.9. She's no doubt a sale feature. She will be second in the sale order today, Colonel. I think this one, I guess just to sum it up, number one, she truly represents the Goosebumps kind. And I hope as you compare these sows today and you see the Goosebumps and then compare them with the Kingpins, I think skeletally you'll see a lot of similarities. But the Goosebumps, as a whole, they've got more spread up high, they've got more muscle shape, they've got more muscle definition, and they've got such a unique look up front. I think that sow is incredible. She's the mother of the Grand Barrow at the California Youth Expo last summer for the Cole family. That was a Dash 8 that we sold in the spring showcase. She would have had, Kelby's sister would have showed a jugs out of this one that would have placed there at Houston. And she's carrying a litter to Absolute. I think this is a phenomenal mating. I think this is a phenomenal opportunity. She's the kind that I want to represent our program. She sells second in the order. Again, that's 37-9, lot 18 is the one that I've been talking about. The red roan one, I mentioned a few minutes ago that the King of the Hill sows are all just stout. They're stout featured, they're stout skull, they've got big tails, they've got big legs. This is the red roan one, 240-11. She is lot 40 in your catalog. She's a King of the Hill drop and swag. Her mother was a litter mate to a blue bear that was fourth out in the heavy crosses at Oklahoma City. The Thompson family had him. And going through the sale, I found his backdrop picture, and it was amazing. That pig to have shown 3 years ago now, looked like he could still compete today. He looked incredible in his picture. So his sister would be the mother of this red-belted King of the Hill sow, and she's also bred to Absolute. Again, that's lot 40. She's a King of the Hill drop and swag. Last but not least is 40-7. That's the one that Wade has. 40-7 is lot 27. And I mentioned a while ago, Kevin, when Will Hilty turned that pair of sows out, he bought 106-14 and 106-15. This one's actually out of 106-15. So she's a Goosebumps Dirty Secret. Again, go 2 generations back, and you'll get to the Sky's the Limit sow, and then, of course, Miss Abby, and everything will come together. And I forgot to mention earlier, of course, Miss Abby goes back to that same sow family there on the very bottom side, the Black Attack sows, the Swagger sows that followed, and some of those sows are such a key part of the early years that can all be found there on the bottom side of Miss Abby. So Ellie's got lot 18. Again, she's the second sow that we'll sell today. She's a Goosebumps. She's bred to Absolute. She would have had the Grand at California last summer. This is lot 40, the red roan one. She's a King of the Hill drop and swag. And then last but not least is 40-7. She's lot 27 here in front of me. Hey, McCoy, what notes did you have for that one? Damn good. I like that. Didn't need to go any further. No more ink. You got any questions yet, Robbie? No? You need some coffee or a Mountain Dew? You do? I think they did bring a cooler. It's behind you. If you guys want some water, I think there's some soda in there. If you want to grab a drink, go for it. Oh, there's just water? Okay, just water. Soda and beers down in the sale room. It's not far away if you want to do it. Slim, do you need anything? You're good? No fish. He hasn't said anything today. I think he used all his words last night. Twice. Okay, 59.6 is the one closest to you. Boots unfortunately had a wedding there with a very close friend of he and Taylor's at home and couldn't be here this weekend. This is one of Boots' favorites, one of Boots' pick. If you've asked Boots for a list, chances are she's on it. That's 59.6. That is lot 36. She's a provoked Dirty Secret. Her mother would have been one of the top sellers in 21. Her mom was actually, I would tell you, here's what I would tell you. I think her mom is the heaviest bone blue sow we've ever had. True story. Her sister rivaled her mom in bone, and her sister would have been the mother of Curly and For the Good. This is the mother of the Anthem Bear that Wyatt Collard would have showed last winter. That was an absolute freak of nature. We bred her to Anthem twice because we like that pig so much. She's bred to Absolute, and obviously you can tell that she's getting ready to farrow. She's due the 8th of June to Absolute. Again, that is lot 36. The black one closest to you, I hope you pay attention to this one. We didn't use Next Intention a lot, but I can tell you that this is no doubt the best female that we've kept out of Next. She's a Next Intention Dirty Secret. She's out of the same sow as that trio of Provokes. This is lot 33 in your catalog. And the other reason I would tell you to pay attention here is there is a very unique stout Cricket's daughter selling in the open gilt section out of her that I want you to pay attention to if you're listening. Again, that's 2038. She is lot 33. She's a Next Intention Dirty Secret. That's a neat sow. Some folks avoid the black thing like the plague. I would tell you, like when we bred her to Crickets, we got all blues. She's bred to Move the Needle, and the reason I did that, Move the Needle's mother in 3 litters never had a solid black pig. In fact, a lot of the black sows here this time got bred to Move the Needle because I'm hopeful that we can maybe circumvent the outcome there. But no matter what color they are, I think that sow, hopefully you can appreciate the ruggedness of her, huge forearm, all kinds of structure. And I think for a next, we haven't had enough of them around here for me to probably comment this way, but I think she's built better than a lot of them from a female standpoint, and I will tell you that she's performed very well, and she's the kind that I really wish we could have a couple more litters here because I think she's got some incredible things in her future. Last is 8111. That's the other Kingpin, Dirty 239. We already looked at her sister. This is lot 41 that's coming. She's the one that's bred to in-game, and she's due early. She's due earlier, and as you can see, it looks like she's got a belly full of pigs. That was a day when we wouldn't have gotten more than 2 doses of in-game, I'm almost certain. And I thought this was an awesome mating, an awesome chance to get an early, older litter out of in-game on a very good sow that we like. We would have sold an 81 in November at that Showcase the Influence sale, and then we've got the other 2 81s in this sale. And again, that sow family is very prolific. They're very productive. They generate good pigs. I don't claim to be an expert on how to use in-game, but if that doesn't work, then I'm going to be dead wrong. So that is 8111. She is lot 41. The solid black one is lot 33. She's a next dirty, and then Ellie's the fast one there on the outside. That's 59.6, lot 36. So Todd's reminding me over here that we don't have to make them flat rib. We can make them, round ribbed, good bodied, still level hip, still long hip, still good looking, long fronted. What else did you say? Oh, they got rib. We can still put rib shape in them. Yes. Okay. That's 8111 he was talking about. He likes that one. If you're listening, lot 41, I think got 3 stars in the Big Indians catalog. We've got 3 very different ones coming at you now. Lot 10 is the one coming towards me. She is going to be, no doubt, one of the more different ones you're going to see in this sale set. She's a made-to-order on the top side. Made-to-order was the boar that we bought from Grinstead. He was a make-it-easy son that went back to a cob-bred sow that Grinstead would have bought at Indiana. We bought that boar because he was a complete outcross to Dirty Secret, and I was trying to find some spots to inject some different blood. Unfortunately, his fertility didn't let us use him near as much as we wanted to, but we did get this female. She's out of Best Kept Secret sister on the bottom side. If you paid attention to Brockman's production sale catalog there a month ago, the Best Kept Secret sister that they have was highly instrumental in their herd. We had one of those as well. Ours wasn't super prolific in the crate, but this one is. This one actually, we're selling a daughter out of her that came out of a litter of 18 pigs. The one that we're selling is Dash 17. I'm excited to see her out here today. This sow is bred to Waspy. When you see Waspy and you see the chest and the spread and the moderation that he has, I think you'll agree that this is a really, really good mating. She would have had the reserve Division I other cross at Houston for Briley Byers. That was a neat pig that's a mate to the gilt we're selling. I'm not telling you this sow's perfect, and I'm not telling you that she's the same kind that we like around here, but I will tell you that her advantages in her size and her elevation, she's still got an awesome rear leg, and if you study that rear leg and then study her daughters, I can assure you that she generates the same kind. Wade's got lot 3. This is a sow that I fielded some questions about. I think folks are intrigued with this one and how she looks. She's out of the very first litter of 31.8. 31.8 is the sow that Ben Cooley would have bought as the top seller in 2021. Her mom is this sow's mother was a Dirty Deal, Dirty Good. Annie Up goes back to that 143.12 sow I talked about. But this is a Honey Nut. And Honey Nut was a Vendetta son that we bought from Luke Lindner in the very first exchange. We bred 31.8 for her gilt litter to him because Luke had assured me that he was Cabinese, and we wanted to get that sow off and running. This sow's been a good one. She had a very good Dash 8 a year ago that's in the catalog. We've got a sister to him in the keeper pen down at the sow barn. She would have had next intentions this spring, and we sold, 8 or 9 of those between those two sales. She's been a very good sow in the crate. She will raise pigs. Ben, I would tell you, she resembles her mother. Looks a lot like her mother. She also looks a lot like Lot 2. That's her maternal sister. Those sows are all cut from the same mold. I love this one. That's Lot 3. She's bred to Frio. So, again, she's bred to the never-before son at Lackey's. I think that mating is incredible. We actually bought a never-before boar prospect out of her mother from Cooley this spring in his pig sale. So he's a never-before dirty deal. We've got this one bred to a never-before son. I think that could be really fun. Last but not least is 12710. She's the other more elevated one of this trio. That's Lot 20. She's a Goosebumps Vendetta. She's a Goosebumps out of Decisive's mother. This one's actually a litter mate to one of our favorite pigs we had 2 years ago. He won his class for Hallie Landry at the Royal. He also won his class at the North American, and I know that may seem like an ordinary feat, but it really isn't. 2 completely different judges, 2 shows 3 weeks apart. That was a very good pig, and to be honest with you, I think both situations we felt like maybe we could have got him a notch higher, but that was a pig that we really liked. That was a littermate brother to this sow. Big-skulled, big-tailed, big-footed. She's got giant feet. She generates lots of feature. She's bred to Absolute. She's due there towards the end of July. We've already farrowed a lot of pigs. We've got a lot more to farrow, and I think there's a lot of folks in this industry that would agree that we've gotten carried away on this age and maturity thing. She's due the 24th of July. I still think that is a perfect farrowing date for the majority of the shows that matter in the spring. And Robbie's shaking his head yes. I do think that July 24th is the perfect time to farrow one. The Grand Barrow at San Antonio in 18 was born July 31st. It's still possible to get them there and make them look right. And I think that sow's a really unique one. Bred to Absolute, due the end of July. So Ellie's got Lot 3. Wade had 12710, which is Lot 20. And then last but not least, there is Lot 10. And again, I want to remind you, we're going to look at an open gilt out of Lot 10 that I'm really excited to see out here on the grass. Well, we're not charging anything for it. So first one up is one of the first ones due, and if you can't tell, she's loaded and ready to go. That is 140-7. She's a kingpin. She's bred to move the needle. She is Lot 12. She's due June 6th. She needs to be finding a crate just as soon as possible. She does a good job. She had a very high-grossing litter this spring out of Keep Going, the Wintex spread boar there at SGI. I've talked a lot about rear leg, and I've talked a lot about the way some of these sows are built, but, that's a rear leg that we like. It works. She's comfortable. She's loose-jointed. She's a very typical kingpin in the way that she's built. She's also a very typical kingpin in her immaturity. That's a sow that, generates that sort of immaturity. You can breed her to the power bores, and it'll work. But she's a kingpin on the top side. She's out of a lesson learned sow on the bottom that I would have got from Mike Clay. Bought 12 or 13 little baby gilts from Mike a few falls ago. And the very best one in that bunch was 11-83, and that's the mom of Lot 12. So that's Lot 12 again going that way. She's got a big tail. She's got a rear leg that works, and she's got a belly full of move the needles, and I think that'll be a really, really neat mating. Wade is driving 15-4, and for obvious reasons, I fielded a lot of questions about this sow. That's Lot 15. I might have been a little quirky in my lot number here, Carl, to give her Lot 15, but the guys around here know that I do this weird kind of stuff. But the 15s have been absolutely phenomenal industry-wide. Justin Day and Hoff Schultes would have bought the bunt gilt at OIE 2 years ago for $22,000. That sow in her first litter would have had daylight. I think Todd said he brought 27,000, I think, as a baby pig. She had another litter that did really well, and then her third litter, they would have sold a gilt at Holy Smokes for 30 or 35,000. Sold a boar pig at Brockman sale for 17,000. All of those were out of their 15-liter sow. Trogdon's got a 15 that he would have bought from us. That 15 was the mother of an in-game gilt at OYE this past year that brought 45,000. So she was an in-game on a 15-liter kingpin. And then the guys at True Genetics, they bought a 15-liter as an open gilt in the Built the Brand sale, and their 15's done an awesome job for them. So there's 3 of them out there working in the industry. I mentioned this last night. This one always had a short tail. And as a baby pig, this is the kind, and Karl knows this as well as I do, when they've got some sort of defect, whether it's a crinkled ear or a short tail or whatever, they go straight from the grower to the slap barn, and we forget about them. And those are the kinds that have made really awesome sows for us, and this is a great example. Had she had a good tail, we probably wouldn't have her today, but because she had a short tail, we got to use her. We've got 3 JoJos out of her first litter that are as stout structured as any JoJo females we've kept, and I think that's a pretty big statement. They're very, very neat. She's bred to heavy hitter. I mentioned this on lot 13. If heavy hitter doesn't work on this kind, I'm going to be dead wrong. And JC, I don't know if you agree with me, but if he doesn't work on this kind of sow that's loose jointed, that's loose, that's built like this, flexible, then I'm not sure where he'll work. But I think that's a really, really neat mating, a really neat opportunity. Again, that's lot 15. She's a kingpin curtain call. The curtain call sow would have sold in 21 as well. And this is probably a good time to say this. As I was putting together the catalog, the tendency that I kept coming across was a lot of these very best females in this sale are all daughters of the very best ones we sold in 21, Kevin. And that was the high water mark for us. That was I think for all purposes, was probably a record-setting event for our industry. And a lot of these sows, like that one, are daughters of the sows that were top sellers in 21. And I think that's a really neat full circle realization that I had putting the catalog together, was to see that. Here's another example. This is 276.8. This is a little bro out of a dirty sow that was sold in 21. This is lot 34 that Wade's got. That is the most extreme one that I bred to heavy hitter. I don't know that I bred anything else with more power and punch to heavy hitter as this one. This is definitely a swing for the fence mating here with 276.8, the one that Wade has. She's a little bro, Dirty Secret. That Dirty Secret sow would be a mate to the Reserve Dark that Claire McCormick showed her senior year at Houston. Her mother, this one's mother, would have sold in 21. Grandmother would have been American Bad Boy that was very, 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 very heavy structured. There's a lot of bone in this sow's pedigree, and again, she's bred to heavy hitter. So lot 12 is the one closest to you. Lot 15 is the black-headed, black-hipped one. And then Wade's got 276.8. That is lot 34. Karl just reminded me of something that, and Todd mentioned this a little earlier, but, a couple of those sows there I would call skinny. And I'm saying skinny, but when I say skinny, what I'm really talking about, the translation of that is, and Karl reminded me, they're in what we would consider optimum shape to farrow in the summertime for sure. Around here with the heat and humidity that we have, and I know this isn't South Texas, but it still gets very humid and very hot. And we can't have them fat. And I think what we've learned over the years, even though we're trying to market them and even though we're trying to make them look good for the pictures and the videos and the public in a sale, they've got to be able to function and they've got to be able to do their job. And to do that, they've got to be in the right condition. So when I say skinny, what I'm really telling you is I think they're in the right condition to work and do their job for you as they leave the hill. This is a really neat trio. I'm not sure how we got these three together, but we've got a lot to share here. I'll start with the one here that Wade's closest to. That's 271.6. I've fielded a lot of questions about this one. That's lot 26. She's a direct kingpin. She's a kingpin, sky's the limit, Miss Abby. She's the youngest one out of that sow family. So if you turn to that particular page on lot 26, we're selling the King of the Hill out of that sow. We're selling the Never Before, and then we're selling this Kingpin, and she's the youngest one. I've had folks ask me to rank the Kingpin daughters and relative to the opportunity. This one would rank as high as any for me based on the litter she's carrying. I mean, I think Absolute and this sow could be incredible. I think she complements him really, really well. I think she's, for as much as she does look like a Kingpin, I think she's still even an outlier beyond that. I think she's got more center. I think she's got more spread. She is round-ribbed, and she's way more progressive in that part of her body than the average Kingpin, and I think that's a really neat opportunity there. Again, with 271.6, that's lot 26. The one that Wade's got is 244.13. That's the third one of that trio of those provokes. And I will tell you that Boots' call was 12. Dash 12 is Boots' pick. Dash 14 is Karl's pick. And this one's my pick. This is dash 13. It's going to be really fun to see which one, has the best litter going forward. This one's bred to Absolute. Dash 14's bred to In-Game. Dash 12, if you remember, she had the really big bushy tail. She was also bred to Absolute. These sows have been tremendous. They're very good in the crate. They do their job. They're backed by, our very best sow family that goes back to the very, very beginning. Her mother's in the catalog. That dirty sow that sold in 21 is in the catalog, and I did that intentionally so you could see just the similarities in pattern and build from generation to generation. I think is very evident. Last but not least is the one Wade's driving, and I saved her for last because she's my favorite. I don't pick favorites around here very often, but the crew around here knows that this is my favorite sow. She's been that way since she came back from the slab barn. She's a littermate to a pig that Max would have showed in Chickasha the year Denver was canceled. Max named that bear Cheeks, and he was sort of the very first crossbred that we turned Max loose with. He was a lot of fun. That was a fun pig. There's a picture of him in the catalog when we showed him in Texas, and then he was reserve granted that Denver replacement. So she's a Goosebumps. She's a direct daughter out of the sow that Ben Cooley would have bought in 21. That was the top seller. So she's a Goosebumps, dirty deal, dirty good, Annie up is what her pedigree would read. She had a very, very high-grossing, incredible litter this spring out of Dash 8. Boots has seen a couple of those on a regular basis in Kansas, and he's very excited. We kept a boar out of that litter. Ben Cooley snuck in there and saw him last night and reminded me that that one still looks very good. I've got another one set aside that's got a little crinkle in his ear, and we haven't decided if we're going to cut him for Exarban or if we're going to keep him a boar. She would have had her top-selling gilt a year ago. She's done everything we've asked her to do. This is one of those situations where we're offering 50% ownership. Possession certainly negotiable. When Ben Cooley and I have partnered up, typically those sows have stayed here. When Will Hilty and I partnered up on Lot 1 years ago, Kevin, that one went to Pennsylvania. I think you actually sold a couple of daughters out of her and Will's sale a couple nights ago. It's always worked really well. I've been blessed with some really good partners. Typically, just for those of you that are interested, you can do it one of two ways, but typically whoever's running the sow gets a 60% cut. Whoever's not running the sow gets 40% on revenue split. And most of the time, it's worked best to split daughters. We split them right down the middle, and if there's an odd number, we take turns and rotate. Ben, I think you would agree that it worked out pretty good for us over the years. And so that's a sow that I want to stay hooked into for a while yet. That's Lot 2. She's bred to Absolute. I think a tremendous opportunity for somebody to get involved in my favorite sow, and one of the I think really represents our program. I always felt like for her sow family, and keep in mind she's out of the same sow family as Lot 3, the same sow family as Lot 4, her daughter Cells is Lot 202. I think she is the bulkiest, the most moderate, the most proportional, and the heaviest dutied one out of that sow family. That's my opinion. Ben's nodding his head yes. And she's generated that way. So that's Lot 2. You also saw 244-13. She is Lot 31. That's the one that Wade has. And then Ellie, again, is driving 271.6, Lot 26. So there's another. Carl reminded me there's another Dash 8 out of lot 2 that is in Iowa, and she won her show the first time she went out. There were 2 gilts in the sale that we sold, and then we sold 2 males, and one of them got kept for a boar. This wide belted one that's coming, she is the other part of lot 13 choice. That's 13B. And then Boots gets angry about some of this, like downright angry about some of these that get sold, because Boots, once he gets comfortable and used to some of these sows and likes to buy pigs out of them, that's typically about the time they get sold. He's got a pig out of this wide belted sow on feed for Missouri that he really, really loves. He's a Baskin out of this sow, and there's, I think, 3 or 4 of them around the countryside. That sow is a Kingpin Dirty 239 Vendetta, and she's part of that choice lot. That's 13B, and she's also bred to Heavy Hitter. Of course, Heavy Hitter is, got more than one shot of Next Intention in him. That sow had a litter out of Baskin, and Baskin was out of a Next Intention son. I think there's some similarities there from a mating standpoint. I think that's a really neat opportunity. Again, that's 13B. The sow under the tent, I think when Carl took her picture, I don't remember what he said exactly. He either said this one's either lot 1 or she's a sale feature. I'm not sure how he said it in his text, but she was one of the very first sows he pictured, and I just responded, and I said, if you get a picture as good as that for all of them, we're going to be just fine. That's one of Carl's favorites. I think that's one of anybody's favorites on the farm, and that's this sow here that I'm talking about, 230-6. She's a Kingpin Dirty South. She is lot 11. And that's one that, if we could draw them on paper and build them that way and consistently make them, we'd sure like to take another several dozen that look like that. She's got a big tail. She's got a level hip. Her rear leg works like it's supposed to. She's bred to Absolute. I'm not sure how we could have done it any better with that one, but that's lot 11, and love a lot of things about her. I know Carl's had her at the top of his list from the very beginning of picture taking, and that was 4 weeks ago. Lot 33 is the one that's kind of got the weird belt. She's also a Kingpin. She's a Kingpin Dirty Bill. She's a littermate to Honcho. That's a boar that we would have sold through the Built the Brand sale 2 summers ago or 3 summers ago. That's 133.3 lot 17 is her lot number. I would tell you that she's one of the shorter bodied, more proportional, bigger centered Kingpins again. I think she's an outlier in that regard. She's always been shorter. She's always been bigger centered and softer there in her middle. And I think that kind of goes back to some of the sows on the bottom side. If you get into her grandma there on the bottom, that's a litter mate to House Money. If you aren't familiar with House Money, just look at Next Intention's mother. She was a House Money daughter. So pay attention to that. That's 133.3, lot 17. She's bred to Absolute. That's the one closest to you coming onto the camera. The wide belted one, again, is lot 13B, one of those choice. Again, that lot, we're only selling one of those 2. We're going to sell one and keep one. And then Ellie's got lot 11. That's 230-6. She's a Kingpin Dirty South. And that goes back to a hillbilly sow from Kirk. I mentioned in the catalog that was a blue hillbilly that I found in the finisher that we were very fond of when she was here at the farm. Someone just asked about transportation on some of these that are due right away. Trent Lahr will be here tomorrow evening to load and go south. He'll drive through the night. He'll go through Oklahoma, through Texas, and he'll end up in Waco. So he'll be in Waco Monday morning. Steve Popejoy will be here tomorrow morning going east, and so he will go as far east as Richmond, Indiana right now. I don't think he wants to go into the Buckeye State, but if needed, close. It's very close. If he needs to go into Ohio, we may be able to talk him into that. But those 2 trailers will leave tomorrow. Beyond that, the Dottie Grove trailer will be here from California, and they'll be headed back west I don't know that they're going to be back in time for one due on the 6th, but I think that they'll do their very best. But we've got some really good solid options here to get these on the move right away. We're going to look here at this pair of BKS sows, 51 and 52. Wade is driving 51. Ellie's driving 52. These are littermate sows. Their best kept secret, Kiss My Socks, Visionary. The Visionary sow would be a littermate to Hold My Beer from Wintex. That's a gilt that Billy Wolf would have bought from Wintex at the Extravaganza. She was heavy duty. She was very neat and out there. This is one of my very favorite sows in the offering. I mean, from a visual appraisal, if this one doesn't trip your trigger, then we'll try harder next year. She's bred to in-game. Again, I don't know the exact way that boar needs to be used, but I can't imagine why you won't have something pretty fun from that mating. She has been a stoutie for her whole life. She always looks like that, and I'm very, very excited about that mating. Again, that's lot 52. She's due to in-game the 20th of June. This is her sister that Wade has. Heads up, Wade. She might try to do it again to you. This is 51. This is the mother of Misconception, the mother of Karl. In fact, her first litter was out of Acoustic, and we've got 3 of those. Those are 122s in the sow herd. Here's the deal. We haven't gotten her bred for probably, I think, 11 months. I'm too stubborn to give up. I'm too stubborn to haul her to town. I think there's too much opportunity here. Jim McCoy talked about it last night. Sometimes they just need a change of scenery. And she will be guaranteed to breed. If she doesn't, you're certainly not risking anything. I just really wanted to give somebody else a chance to give this sow a try. There's too much good here to throw away, and I really think she just needs a different venue and a different approach. She cycles good. We just need some luck. But that's 124.11. That's lot 51, and again, her sister's lot 52. She's the one bred to in-game. Those are BKS Kiss My Socks Visionary. I'm really pumped about this. These last 4 sows that we're going to show you from the dirt pens. They're 2 pairs of litter mates. They're all, so they're maternal sisters. They share the same mother. And if you turn to lot 1 and look at, actually, we're not on lot 1. We're on the 25. So lot 7 and 8. And I did something in this year's catalog just to give you a reference point or a historical perspective of this sale. But on the left side of that page, you'll see 4 sows from top to bottom. Going all the way back to lot 1 and the very first Built the Brand sale, and then her daughter a couple years later, and then her daughter a couple years after that, all the way to the mother of these 219-10, which sold in 21. And so we've got 4 daughters of that sow that sold in 21 that are going to be no doubt sale features. These are the end games. This is 25.9 in front of me. This is lot 7. That is lot 8. That's 25.10. These are out of, in-game's initial crop is where these would have come from. Obviously, they're colored the same, but if you forget about their color and break them down, they're not exactly the same. This one's always been the stoutie, big tail, big skull, big arm, big rear leg, lots of bone. That one's always been the good-looking, eloquent, gorgeous one from the side that's elevated. She's got an awesome head, a very good look ahead of her blade. Her hips right, her rear leg works. I love this pair of sows and everything that they represent. 25.10 that Ellie has down there is bred to Waspy. This one here is bred to Move the Needle, and I wrote in the catalog, these 2 sows had been bred to the same boars for every litter of their career until now. And so I split it up based on what I've learned. I do think this is the right kind for Waspy. I do think that's the perfect kind for Move the Needle. I think these are very complementary matings, a couple incredible sows. I want to leave these out here for a second and have those other 2 come with you just so you can see what I think is really cool. I think it'd be an awfully fun judging class to talk about these four sisters that are all black-headed, that are all out of the same sow. The next two that are coming would be Lot 1, and then her sister that is Lot 6. And these are the 240s. So these are kingpins out of that same 219-10 sow that sold in 21. Lot 1 is the last one that's coming. Lot 6 is the first one, and I just wanted you to see the same thing. I mean, you've got even litter mates again. You've got one that's stouter skulled, bigger tailed, more feature. You've got one that's a little better looking, maybe more immature in her kind. But we've got four sisters here out of the same sow that have got the same color pattern, and I thought this was something really neat here to focus on and feature this year in the sale. Lot 1, again, that's the one that Wade's driving. Carl and I and Boots have talked about it. I think this is the surest thing for a Lot 1 that we've ever had. This sow has made boars. She's made barras. She's made gilts. She needs a better chance at a boar and somebody to be committed to not cut one that's elite. But she's made some awesome pigs. I talked about her litter a year ago out of Disciple that would have been the Division III bear at Indiana and the Reserve Cross Gilt at Ohio. I also talked about her most recent litter out of Misconception that sold extremely well in the showcase. What I failed to mention is we sold a snooze at Kings of the Hill last fall that was very good. The Bunt family from Oklahoma actually bought a gilt here at the farm out of this sow that didn't quite get ready enough for OYE, and I think she somehow found her way to Goss Livestock. My guess is that one will be heard from someday, and that's a snooze out of Lot 1. I love that sow. I love her kind. I love what she represents. She's done an incredible job for us. That's Lot 1 that Wade has, and her sister is the one on the backside there. That's 240-8. She's not as accomplished as her sister from a resume standpoint, but she certainly does her job and does it really well. I would maintain that I probably haven't been as focused on getting her mated right as I have her sister, and that's on me. But both of these are bred to absolute, and I think it'll be fun to see which one outdoes the other this go-around. So, again, that's Lot 1 here closest to the camera that Wade has. That's her sister, Lot 6, going away. Ellie's got her Lot 7 here is the end game that Wade has now, and then Lot 8 is the other end game here under the tent. Two end games, two kingpins. They're all out of 219-10. What'd you say? A lot? Judging class, how would you rank them? Like, how would you place the class? Mm-hmm. They don't let you do that in a judging contest. You don't get to depend on what you're looking for. That's Lot 6. If you're following along at home, the big Indian likes Lot 6. She's the roundest ribbed one. Shocker. We're going to change up the color here just a little bit. We've got this pair of 252s. Wade has 252-13. That is lot 47. The white one closest to you is lot 46, and those are Cracker, Dirty Secret. Their mom's actual litter mate to Goosebumps. She would have been one of the highlights of that sale in November. So these are direct Crackers. Those are out of her very first litter. This one's solid white, and she's really generated like a solid white one, so to speak. That one's a little roanish in her color pattern. She's actually generated probably more belts than she has white ones. Both of them are bred to Stone Cold. Stone Cold is a curly son that Goss has bred. He's out of the same sow as the Champion Yorkshire at Houston. And we wanted to tie into that sow and use him, and we bred the majority of our white sows got either Stone Cold or Keep Cool. Both of these are bred to Stone Cold. This Dash 12 is one that I like a lot. I love everything that this one represents. And then the other one out here, the Calico, is lot 16, and I know this one's very high on Boots and Carl's list, and rightfully so. She's a kingpin, gone viral. Again, she would be a maternal sister to the sow at Cantrell's that's doing an awesome job. She would be from the same family as lot 35 that I talked about. That's the same gone viral sow in there. This is a kingpin. When that sow sold in 21, she was bred to Kingpin, and this is a gilt out of that litter. In fact, the Fort girls bought half of that sow in that sale. We ran that sow, and this is a gilt out of that litter that turned into an incredible sow. She's bred to Absolute. Tremendous opportunity here. If you like calicos, surely to goodness you can appreciate that one. Again, that's lot 16. That's the Calico. The white one closest to you is lot 46, and the roan one here closest to me is lot 47. Which way are you going back in? That one? Okay. Do what? Or just water it? The leadoff sow in the sale is coming. That's this blue one. That's well, she was leading the pack. Now she's not. I think this is an incredible group of blue sows here. The one closest, well, wait, stay with this one here, right here. Yep. That is lot 9, and she, if you've looked at the sale order, she's the first sow that we're going to sell. There's a million reasons why I think she needs to sell first, and hopefully visually you can tell why we're proud of this one. She's a Goosebumps Dirty Secret. She would be a maternal sister to lot the 59.6 sow, lot 36. Those sows are maternal sisters. This one's actually bred to Trick Daddy. That's the only one we're selling that's bred that way. Trick Daddy is a tricked out that the Cantrell crew bred. Trick Daddy's mother would be the Never Before that they bought in the Built the Brand sale as an open gilt. We've already had a litter of those, and we really love them. I think we've got, 8 or 10 more coming. That's a boar that we used every week, and I'm really, really pumped about this mating in particular based on what I heard about the boar and what kind he needed to be taken to. I think this could be absolutely incredible. Again, she's a Goosebumps Dirty Secret. Her mother, I think, is the heaviest boned blue sow we've ever had here on the hill. Her maternal sister, which was Curly, and For the Good's mother, was a close second. and this one surely doesn't lack in bone or foot size. She's big pinned, she's big skulled, and she handles it really well. Her sister was our favorite bear at Missouri a couple summers ago, and there's just a lot of reasons to love that one. That's lot 9. The calico that's out there in front of you right now, that's lot 14. She's a kingpin visionary. In 21, we sold 4 of those visionary littermate sows. One of those was the mother of the reserve grand barrow at San Antonio in 20. That pig was a kingpin visionary. This sow is a full sib in blood to that barrow. So she's a kingpin visionary. She's bred to Waspy. This litter, I'm not telling you these will be the tallest pigs ever, but they're dang sure going to be stout. They're going to be good looking. They should be very easy to sell, and I think highly marketable. Again, that's 119-9, lot 14, bred to Waspy. The dark blue sow down there on the end that doesn't want to cooperate real well, that's 50-6. She's lot 53. She's a Wags. Wags was a provoked that really never got the acclaim that he deserved. He had a tremendous run at Colorado State Fair, Exarban. Help me, Carl, what else am I forgetting there? The Grand at Kansas City, the Grand at Colorado, the Grand at Indiana Stock Show, all in about a 4-week span. And then his fertility went to heck, and we just never really got him going. Which one? And so she's a Wags. The one here behind me, she's a Wags on the top side, Dirty South on the bottom. Her mom would have sold in a past sale. This one is 10 kinds of stout, and obviously you can see that. She had dash 8s here lately. She's bred to Absolute. I think that could be really fun. Last but not least is 24-8, and if you read the notes in the catalog, this was one of my favorite all-time gilts we ever brought home from the slap barn. She's a Dirty South Pretty Boy. Pretty Boy was actually a Yorkshire boar from George Watson that Kirk had. This one took some commitment and patience to breeding hogs to get to this point. Using Pretty Boys certainly wasn't the route to try to make sellable barrows or a pig that can win a state fair, but I think we made an incredible female here. She had goosebumps. We've got a daughter out of that litter. Her most recent litter was very good. She's bred to keep cool. That's the tricked out boar there at Top Cut. I think this could be a really fun mating. I love her feature. She's big armed. She's stout skulled. There's still enough look. There's still enough presence in her pedigree now. And awesome rear leg. I think this is a really good opportunity here if you're trying to make white ones. Or want something that'll classify there in the Yorkshire shows in the South. I think that's one of your better opportunities to do that. So that is 24-8, lot 39. Lot 53 is the dark blue Wags. Lot 14 is the Roan Kingpin. And last but not least is lot 9. That's the one that we're going to lead off this afternoon when Kevin takes over the auction. We've got some more white ones coming. 95-8, 94-6. Those are lot 48 and 49 in your catalog. Lot 48 is going to be the one closest to you. She's a cracker. This is 49. She's a honey nut. Both of these two sows are backed by purebred Yorkshire sows from Fecky. That would have been some of those high country influenced purebred sows we got in that acquisition. So again, 49 is closest to you. She's a honey nut. The one next to her is 48. Both of those sows, again, are bred to keep cool there at Top Gut. Our white program, I would tell you, is a lot like our Berkshires. Sometimes they don't get near as much attention as they deserve. These two sows have made sellable pigs every time through the crate. Both of them, actually, this one would have had a placing bear at Houston this time. That one would have had, I believe, one of the pigs that we had at Fort Worth that was just out of a placing spot there. They only sell the champions and reserves, but I believe he was either third or fourth in his class out of her litter this last go. So both of those sows are Yorkshire on the bottom side. The one that Wade has is a cracker. The one that Ellie has is a honey nut, and both of them are bred to keep cool, lot 48 and 49. And then the other one out here is sort of the Goliath one of the bunch. That's lot 5. That is Cricket's sister. If we ran Crickets out here at the same time, I think you would certainly see a lot of similarities in the two. Bone, feature, forearm, more bone, more feature, proportions. She's short-bodied. That one is 10 kinds of stout. She's always been that stout. She would have had King Ranches, her first litter. That was a Kingpin son at SGI that Jordan bred. There was a blue gilt in that litter that True Genetics bought as a baby pig that's in the catalog. Most recently, she had a litter out of Never Before in an effort to get some blue gilts. This sow is bred to keep cool, and I think if she has the boar pig that I know she's capable of having, I'll be the first guy in line to try to buy him. And I will tell you that right now, because I think if she generates a boar out of that mating, it could be a lot of fun and exactly the kind that we need around here. We're going to show you a daughter out of her, lot 204, and I would tell you that I've probably fielded as many questions about her daughter as I have anything in the sale, and I'm not sure why. I think Slim put out a news alert or something and told everybody that white one was selling. But I've gotten so many questions about her daughter, and she's a curly. So this one's a cracker. We bred her to Curly, another cracker son, and that's how we made lot 204. But tremendous sow, tremendous opportunity. I've had folks ask about her productivity. She is not a 8 to 10 kind of pig raiser. She's a 6 to 7 kind of pig raiser. The ones that she's weaned have been very good. And I think we can expect the same this time, bred to keep cool. So again, that's lot 5. She's up the line in the sale order. We're going to sell her and her sister there together. That's lot 5, and then the other two are 48 and 49 here in this trio of white ones. For those of you that are listening online, we've been through the sows. We're going to get into the bred gilts. We've got 9 of those, and then we'll get through the open gilts as quickly as we can, and then we'll look at a few of those boars. The sale is scheduled to start at 3 o'clock, and Kevin, I mentioned this last night. We're going to pay attention to the Larry Moore funeral service here in Oklahoma and make sure that folks have got enough time between that and the start time. So if we are delayed, I want folks to know that that's why, out of respect for Mr. Moore and his family and our friends in Oklahoma that are remembering him today. Sure would have loved to have been there. He was a dear friend and somebody that I really, really enjoyed spending time with. And speaking of Mr. Moore, he was a Berkshire fan, and we've got a pair of young Berkshire sows here that I'm really excited to talk about. 70-2 is the one that Ellie has. That is lot 56. She is a Kickin' Rocks, and then her mother is an Outside the Lines Monopoly. And if you really dig into the pedigree on the bottom side, it's all of the good sows that we've worked with are stacked in there. This one's got extra muscle. She's got extra shape. She's got extra look. And I think we've got her bred to the perfect boar and rooster. Rooster's got huge feet, really heavy structured. He's got some elevation. I think he's a very complimentary boar for this sow, and I love the way she's mated. Wade is driving 98-3. That's lot 57. She's also a Kickin' Rocks, but she's out of the sow that would have been grand. She won the Berkshires, and then she was supreme in the CPS drive the year the National Junior Show was in Des Moines. And those shows were combined that summer. She won the Berks. She won the CPS drive. And we actually sold her Kevin Rogers, wherever Kevin's at. He bought her a year ago. That was 4-7. That's her mom. And this one's bred to Upside. Upside is the boar he was reserved at the Winter Conference, Kevin, in Perry. Upside was the product of a bred sow that sold here a year ago. That crew in Ohio bought her bred, and then we turned around and teamed up with High Point to buy the son. They named him Upside, and she's mated to him. Upside's color is very good. He's very black. He's got white points where they're supposed to be, and obviously we were comfortable with his pedigree, and then really interested in his color, and hopefully we can continue to try to keep our Berkshires where they need to be from a color standpoint to meet those requirements. So 56 is the one Ellie has. Wade's driving 57, a pair of younger Berkshire sows that are certainly in the prime of their career and can go to work right away for you. 56 is due June 24th. 57 is due June 8th. And again, those Junes can show at Perry. They can show in the Winter Conference. They could show at Denver. You've got some flexibility there, even with their farrowing date, to get them shown. Carl, you bringing her first? No? Okay. Red gilt time. These are the 100s in your catalog. That first one going across there with the white socks, that's 108. She's a gangster. She's bred to Waspy. She's a gangster made to order Dirty 239. That's the same Dirty 239 that I talked about on those 81 litter sows. Same sow family on the bottom side. She's a direct gangster. This one had a very good littermate brother that the Lancaster crew there in Kentucky fed. She's bred to Waspy. I think when you see him, you'll agree that this is a really neat mating, and I like the way we've got her bred. The belted one there that's coming into the tent that's got the white rear leg, that is lot 102. Carl tells me that this is the best bred gilt that we've offered, and I'm probably not going to argue with him. I think she can out-generate Ray Ray. I think she can do some of the same things that Ray Ray did. I think this one's got quality written all over. She's a JoJo Shadow. She's out of a Shadow sow that Goss would have bought in the sale last year. And then this one's bred to roll call. And the roll call thing has been good for us. We sold several litters of those this spring. I've got a couple in the barn for the kids for this summer that we like. Those pigs are feeding well. They're doing well. I really like this mating. And she really represents that JoJo kind again. I mean, they're extra heavy structured. She's got a big rear leg. She's still got a neat look. She's still, really good in her front end, I think. And I think that's an awesome mating here with lot 102. The one that I guess was kind of on Carl's radar as a sleeper pick, and I think the more folks that have seen her, the more folks that appreciated her, is the one that Wade has, and that's lot 107. She's 105 litter. She's out of Circleback. Circleback is a visionary dirty secret that we raised here at the farm. So she's Circleback on the top side. Her mother is a Shadow Gone Viral. And again, that's the same Gone Viral sow that I've talked about over and over and over again. You're going to get more bone, more feature, more stoutness. They're just they're just heavier duty in their skeleton. If you look at the size of her feet and look at the way that she uses her skeleton, I think all of those things really add up to the right kind. Again, that's 107. She's bred to Dash 8. That's a boar that I haven't mentioned yet. He was no doubt the premier sire of our spring crop. We sold a lot of those pigs. They're scattered out all over the country, and I think they'll have a really good chance this summer. Obviously, last summer, the Grand at California and the Reserve Grand at Ohio were both out of Dash 8, so I've still got a lot of faith and confidence in him. We've used him a lot on gilts, and I don't know if he's been farrowing ease or calving ease for everybody that's used him, but I can tell you from our standpoint, I'm really comfortable when a gilt hits the crate and she's bred to Dash 8. Kelby's shaking his head yes. It's just kind of one of those things. You look at the gilt and you look at their card, and if they're bred to the right boar, you automatically feel better. We learned some really hard lessons with Kingpin, Colt 45, and some of those boars in the past. You just can't be that aggressive on every gilt first time around. Last but not least is 124.8. Wade, the one there at the end of the tent. That's lot 103. She's out of Who Made Who. Who Made Who is a boar that Todd turned me on to. I randomly saw his picture on Facebook one day, and I think Todd shared it even before that from Choder there in Minnesota. Bred a little different. I honestly couldn't even tell you his pedigree standing here, but we had a couple litters out of a couple key sows, and really liked those pigs. In fact, we've got a boar here at the farm we call Who's on First that we'll show you today. We've got, I think we just weaned 6 or 7 litters out of him in this first group, and I love those pigs. We're selling an open gilt out of Who's on First. That Reserve Division 1 at Houston Barrow was out of Who's on First. This is a Who Made Who out of lot 28 sow. I think this one's neat. If you study her ear set and don't like it, she's just like her mom. I think, in fact, I think she's better there. Incredible underline, incredible stoutness, big-armed. Her bone work is all really good. Good sow family. I think there's a lot of upside here, but this mating, she's bred to Waspy due the middle of July. So that's 103. That's 102 over on the fence by Robbie. 107 is the chrome dome one out here in the middle. And then 108 is the black one here with white socks. Carl's going to walk 101 up here. Obviously, 101's a feature. Just look at her pedigree, and I think you'll figure out why pretty quick. She's actually out of Carol's sister. Her mom would have been one of those sisters of Carol that sold last summer. The Strasner family in Texas bought half of that sow. She's actually got a pair of Kingpin boars in the show barn that we're very, 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 very excited about. They would be maternal brothers to this sow. This would be a litter mate. Kevin, we sold 2 prospect gilts last summer for $26,000, and the guy took them both. They were litter mates to her. This was the small gilt in the litter. JD, Jarrett Davis, and his team down there showed this one and had some success with her in Oklahoma. We got her back to be a sow, and very reluctantly elected to put her in the sale as a feature. I just got to tell you that the expectation from the buying public is too high. We can't, at this point in this sale and what we've done with the sale, we can't put our average run-of-the-mill stuff in here. We have to put stuff in here that people expect. This is the sort of quality that people expect to see when they come to the sale and when they make this sort of an investment, and this is the kind we're proud to stand behind. She's a snooze, provoked, dirty secret, dirty good. Again, her grandma would have been that lot 1 sow in 21. Her mom would have been one of the features last year, and she's bred to Absolute. We've got 2 sisters to her. The guy that bought those last year sent them back here to be sows. One of them's bred to Gangster. One of them's bred to Absolute. This one's bred to Absolute. She sells as lot 101 today, Kevin. I think that one certainly represents her sow family and represents the kind that we're proud to offer in the Built the Brand sale. Yes, that's Ty's gilt, Max. The one that Ellie's driving is Ty Murphy's show gilt from last summer. Max and Ty are big buddies. She won the Blue Cross division at Missouri State Fair. You can tell that she's a little less comfortable now as a bred gilt as she was as a show gilt. But I can assure you that 325, 35 pounds at fighting weight there at Missouri, she floated around the ring. She's a trenches cracker. In fact, the guy that bought Kevin Vaughn there in Oregon that bought trenches reached out. He loves trenches, and he actually reached out about some females that he'd breed back to trenches now that he has him. This is a great representation of the sort of feature that trenches generated. And I pointed out in the catalog, I mean, this one for a blue one, she's got lots of hair. And I know you probably haven't, I mean, I hope you haven't heard me talk about that yet today, and that was intentional. But I do know industry-wide hair is something that everybody wants to talk about and are certainly starting to select for. For a blue one, this one has it, and I think that makes her a little unique. She's bred to absolute. I certainly think this is one of the features in the bred gilt division. That is lot 105 in the bred gilt division. Again, she's a trenches cracker, bred to absolute. Wade is driving 114.7, and that's lot 104. I think this is one of the features. This one is stout. She's bred to be stout. If you studied Cricket's sister when she was out here, I want you to remember how that one looked, and then think about this one 2 years from now. She's going to look just like her with blue spots. This one's a neighbor boy, kingpin, Cricket's mom. So this gilt's mother is a maternal sister to that lot 5 sow. We've got 3 of those kingpins, and they will for sure be features if they make it to next summer. They will be features in that sale. There's a bear shown in southwest Missouri right now that is a Anthem kingpin, Cricket's mother. This gilt is a neighbor boy kingpin, Cricket's mother, stout. I mean, she is stout. That's a big rear leg. That's a big arm. Big pin set. I think she looks exactly like lot 5, only with the few blue specks, and 2 years younger. She's bred to Stone Cold. Again, that's the curly board SGI, and we certainly doubled down on stoutness and density with that mating. But that's lot 104, 114-7. I've had some folks ask me about that collar barrow and ask if there's, what's in the sale that can get me to that pig. That's where you need to start, is that one. That's as close as you're going to get. And again, that's lot 104. Wade's driving 257.4. That's lot 106. She's a curly. This one's as basic as it gets, and I don't use the word basic in a bad tone or a negative tone here. I tell you basic because she's fundamentally sound. She's built right. She's proportionate. She's still got an immature look about her. I think we've got her mated right. That one's actually bred to move the needle. And again, that's one of those that's a little more immature, and those are the kind that we use to move the needle, and I think that'll be a really, really fun mating with a lot of upside. This is one that I think will be a little under the radar, and hopefully folks can recognize her quality and latch onto her. Last but not least is the Hampshire bred gilt in the sale. She's a hands down out of Lion's Share's sister, so she's a hands down Top Gun. That was a very good litter of Hampshire pigs, a very big litter of Hampshire pigs. I think there were 13 or 14 pigs in the litter. Lion's Share's other sister is at True Genetics, and she would have been the mother of True Value that we teamed up with High Point at Louisville. So we bought him. So effectively that boar is a full sister to this sow. She's bred to Roar. Roar is the roundest ribbed, biggest armed, biggest legged, heaviest structured, most powerful Hampshire boar we have. And I think from a phenotypic standpoint, if you're in the Hampshire business, that's as complimentary as we could get on a mating. You're going to have a triple bred Top Gun when you're done. And based on what we've seen out of Roar, I think that could be really good. So that is lot 109 is the Hampshire. Lot 104 is the blue speckled one. Lot 105 is the one that's about to knock over the computer. And lot 106 is the darker blued one. Max, you ready to come talk these Durocs? Okay. We've got, we're going to get into the open gilts, and we'll start here with the pures. These are the 4 Durocs. We have a exciting surplus of red females around here, and I would tell you that all of these were kept. They were kept to keep. And the problem is we just don't have enough space here at the farm to keep all the red ones we want to keep. All of these are out of our foundation sow families. I think 3 of the 4 go back to 24-6 at least once. One of them goes back to 48-9. 337.5 is the redder one closest to you. That's lot 235. She is a trickle rip, is what her pedigree is. That's 337.5. Lot 235. This really dark-hided one here going towards the fence, that's the 309. That's lot 236. She's out of last at bat. That's the board that was at SGI, lintermate to trickle. This really heavy structure one here closest to me is 329.2. She is very big-footed, very heavy structured. I do want to tell you that she's short-titted on one side. I think she's got an extra one on one side and a short one on the other. I think there's plenty of spaces to get a good litter raised, but she would have been ineligible to show. She's lot 237. That's the one that Wade's got. She has huge feet, big legs. That's another one that goes back to some of our very best stuff from a pedigree standpoint. And then last but not least is 332.8. That's the lighter skin one there that Ellie's got. That's lot 238, and she's another trickle airdrop brake lights. And so you'll go back to that same brake light sow that's in Statement Days pedigree and that we've really built all the red ones around. These gilts have got a little more maturity than some of the crosses we're going to look at. The Berks and the Durocs typically, and the guys will tell you, they get the short end of the stick on which ones come to the farm and get bred the quickest. So these gilts have got a little more maturity than some of them, but I do think these really represent the kind of red hogs that we're trying to build. I think genetically they're certainly from our most trusted sow families, and I think there's a lot of opportunity. I would tell you that if these gilts were staying here, most of these would get a chance with Statement Day right away because I think they're the right kind for him. Certainly the boar out of Statement Day's mom that we sold in the exchange to the Leto crew, I think that boar will certainly get some looks in several of our sows too. So fun set of red ones. Again, in your catalog, those are 236 through 238, 235 through 238. 2 of those were not pictured because they were in heat and were acting like in heat gilts on picture day. So. How are those notes coming, McCoy? Better? You need another ink pen. Good. We do have those. We're almost to lunchtime. I know you're getting hungry. I can see it. JC looks like she's starving. We are having Berkshire Gold smoked pork butt for lunch. It looked really good coming off, Kevin. If it doesn't taste good, that means somebody messed it up in the last hour and a half. Speaking of Berkshire Gold, here we go. I made this comment last night. We've had a really good run in the Berkshire ring, and we just don't talk about it enough. It's not because we don't like the breed, and it's not because we don't like raising the pigs, because they are the lowest maintenance pig that we raise, and I think really on a lot of days we get a lot of reward out of this. I had the chance to go to Memphis in May, the barbecue competition, a couple weeks ago, and I got to go because we sent a Berkshire market hog to a competition team, and that was a lot of fun. I mean, this breed is so versatile, and there's still so much opportunity in this breed for those that want to raise show pigs, for those that want to raise breeding hogs, and then even more importantly, for those that want to be in the meat industry. I think there's a lot of opportunity here with Berkshire hogs, and I know Kevin gets the chance to sell a lot of these. There's still a lot of enthusiasm for the folks in this breed. This is 16.5 here in front of you. She's a litter mate to the reserve Berkshire Barrow at Kansas City at the Royal. The 11-liter gilt down here was a mate to the Berkshire that won the Berkshires, and then he was Supreme Champion Purebred Barrow at the NJSA Southwest Regional in Oklahoma. Wade's driving the 7-liter gilt here. That's the last one with the white tail. and then Ellie's got 4-14. So in your catalog, those are 231, 232, 233, and 234. We've got quite a variety on pedigree. 231, that's the 4-litter that Ellie has. She's a kicking rocks and really looks like most of them. I mean, tons of center, lots of muscle, lots of power. She's been broad and burly her whole life, and that's never, ever going to change. This 11 here is out of cancel culture. Kevin and Todd, she would have been bought in dam in the MB dispersal. So the OTL bred sow that we bought in that sale, Kevin, you would have sold her. I think, Todd, you would have bought her for us. That is a product of that bred litter, and her brother, again, was the one that won the Southwest Regional. The 16, closest to you, is a Mama Tried. Mama Tried is a board that the Goss crew bred, or I think Kendall maybe bred Mama Tried. We tied into Mama Tried because his mother came from here, and I think she's the very best Berkshire baby pig gilt that we ever sold. That was Mama Tried's mother, and a big reason why we used him. He rewarded us with the Reserve Berk at Kansas City, the Champion Berkshire at Denver. Those were both Mama Trieds. We had a really good run with those pigs, and I'm forgetting some, Carl. Lancasters at Louisville was also a Mama Tried. Champion Berk, 4th overall, thank you, was also a Mama Tried. So, like I said, we've gotten along really well. Probably could have put a page of winners in the catalog of Berkshires only. We just don't talk about them enough. So, really neat group of Berks. I would tell you that these are, they look like they'll work really well on rooster if you want to go that route. I think, we'd certainly use upside as well at High Point if we were breeding them. And then obviously there's lots of options around the industry to get these mated. The cool part about the open gilt thing, and I know, Todd, you would agree with this, you get the chance to buy these gilts now. You've got a good 30 days to get them home, get them transitioned, get them used to your program, and then you can put them right into production and get them bred for a high-value November, December, January litter, or whatever you need the most for your market. So I think that's the best opportunity here with these opens. Again, those are the Berkshires, lot 231, 232, 233, and 234. The Cole gilt that was champion at Phoenix, champion Berkshire gilt at Phoenix, and they showed her with a lot of success. She was also a Mama Tried. So I think Carl just reminded me, Reserve Berk at Kansas City, champion Berk at North American, champion Berkshire gilt at Phoenix, champion Berkshire at Denver. We had something at Breeders' Cup. We had the champion overall barrow at the Southwest Regional. Those were all Berkshire show pigs. Western Regional as well. Most of those were bought sight unseen, shipped out of here to their final destination. Harper's not up here to talk about hers, but we are selling a couple TAMs, Kevin. A couple years ago, Harper made it very clear to me that she was not going to show her brother's Durocs. She did not want to show anything white. She was not interested in showing Hampshires, and she really could care less about crossbreds. She didn't leave me very many options. She was out on anything down-eared, and to be honest with you, deductive reasoning left us with Tamworths, of all things. But it's been a lot of fun to mess with them, and these two gilts really represent sort of a lot of the success that we've had the last couple of years. The one that Ellie's driving, the darker-hided one, she would be a litter mate to the board that's at Schaefer Gold Rush that Terry bought. We named him something in the orange, and our whole crop right now that we're farrowing is out of him. This gilt's mother would have been the Tam sow that sold in the sale in November, Kevin, that Jordan Tibbetts in Wisconsin bought. So she's a slingshot, and she would be bred identical to our litter mate to the board Schaefer's out of the sow that sold in November. The lighter colored one that Ellie has now is an 18. She would be a mate to Harper's champion OPB at Denver. That was a bear that we really, really liked. And then she's a full sister to the Tams that Harper showed 2 summers ago. Both of those go back to a Tam sow that we got from Bratton, or a pair of litter mates that we got from Bratton. They've been fun. I mean, they raise pigs. They're thrifty. They're hardy. They're very low maintenance, and they've been a lot of fun for Harper to show. And I think these two gilts represent a lot of opportunity for somebody that wants to be in the Tam business. Next are this pair of purebred Hampshires. Wade's got the 364, and she's in heat. Kevin, these Hampshires do cycle. Ellie's got the 363. The one that Wade has is a Mig, and Mig was Lion Share's brother. That was his lesser-known brother that was at Upper Hand there at the end of his career. Ellie's got a 363 that's out of Throwback. Throwback would have sired the champion Hampshire Bear at Phoenix, both the champion and reserve Hampshire Bears at Denver, the champion Hampshire Bear and third overall there at Breeders' Cup. Those were all throwbacks. Throwback is a Top Gun point tanking, and I think her, her head, her tight ear set, her elevation, that shape, muscle shape that she's got, that's all very throwback-ish. Her shoulder's a little bit forward, and that's definitely also throwback. But I think there's certainly some ways to work around that one. She's got a big tail. She's got a neat look. I really like that one. That's the 363 that Ellie has. That's lot 229. And then Wade's got the belted one. She's a MIG, Marvel, Range Wars. The grandma on the bottom side of Wade's would have been the champion Hampshire Gilt at San Antonio in 18 for Weston Lackey. Would have been a scholarship winner. She was a Range Wars Wrecking Ball. So extended pedigree would be MIG, Marvel, Range Wars, Wrecking Ball. I think Black Label 5-1, Carl, is that right? On the bottom side. So that was a sow from DMP there, Don and Mark Peter. Pair of Hampshire Gilts, those would have been, they're of the right age and maturity, I think, to get them home, get them transitioned, and get them bred for a November litter to be set for Expo next summer. Okay, we're going to get into the crossbred open gilts, and I think this is slowly but surely become a highlight of the Built the Brand sales. I know in 21 it was definitely a highlight, and demand, buyer demand has continued to place a lot of emphasis on this part of the sale. These gilts grew up at the Slap Barn. They went through our sorting practice, and now we arrive at some gilts again that are in shape and ready to go to work for you. The first one I'll talk about is the traditional belted one closest to the tent. That's lot 202. She's a direct daughter of the lot 2 sow that I affectionately called my favorite. This is a no intro out of that sow. Her sister would have been the top selling gilt last spring at $18,000 as a baby pig. This is her little sister that wasn't a show gilt. She grew up at the Slap Barn and had an easy life over there. I think she really represents the no intro kind. And probably has more hair and a little more density than a lot of them. And I think we can certainly give her mother credit for that. She's got a big rear leg. I think her proportions are really in line with her mother. That's one that I don't want to sell very bad. But we felt like we needed to keep that sow family in front and center. And again, that's lot 202. The one over there by Heidi that's trying to get an up-close picture, that's 127.7. I know she's really high on my list and Carl's list as well. She's got a big tail. She gives you a really, really, really good look from the side. She's an anthem, and I think you're going to see a group of these anthems that I think have got a lot of potential. She's lot 212. She's an anthem hot check, or anthem kingpin hot check. Her grandma sold last summer. Her kingpin mother was very typical of a kingpin from a skeletal standpoint. These anthems, they look like they're going to be generators. They look like they're going to be good sows. We've got a slew of them that we're getting ready to put in, and we're sort of giving you a glimpse or a cross-section of that first crop. And that's lot 212, 127.7. The one here in front of me is 102-10. Her mother actually is 220-3. Yes, her mother's 220-3. That's one of those sows that Boots was really, really upset the day he saw her out here getting videoed. This is an anthem out of that sow, 220-3, and if you look in the catalog, I believe they're both referenced in both places. So that's lot 215 that Wade has. And the last but not least is this really heavy structured one, 231.4. She's a jugs, and I would tell you that she's an outlier for a jugs. She's lot 209. And again, we're going to go back to that Gone Viral sow family on the bottom side. This one's mother is a King of the Hill. Gone Viral. We went back and bred the Gone Viral sow to King of the Hill again for a second time, and we've got that sow. In fact, we just put her in the crate yesterday. So this one's a Jugs, King of the Hill, Gone Viral. Again, that's the same. Her mother would be a maternal sister to the sow at Cantrell's. would be a maternal sister to the Calico sow lot 16. That's the whole same sow family. That's where that bone, that's where that structure, that's where it's coming from. That's 231-4, lot 209. Todd just asked about Distinct. Distinct was a Kiss My Hawks, gone viral. Kiss My Hawks, we only got like basically one crop of pigs out of him. He died unexpectedly, and that was a boar that we would have continued to tie into. Distinct was a big part of the Knath program there a couple years ago. I mean, a lot of their key sows go back to Distinct, and again, Distinct was a Kiss My Hawks, gone viral. Swagger Black Attack is what his pedigree was. We've got three more anthems. The white-tailed one is 124-15. I know Carl's got her very high on his list, and mine as well. That's one of the slap barn that really stood out. She's out of a JoJo sow that is visually probably the most impressive JoJo we've got. 31.6. She's really, really fun to look at. That's the mother of this one closest to you with the white tail. That's lot 211. So she's an anthem JoJo. These other two are litter mates. They are 105s. They're out of Gangster's Aunt. So they're out of one of those secret weapons that we sold last summer. I believe she was lot 4 or 5 in that sale last summer. They're Anthem, Secret Weapon, Kiss My Socks. A litter mate to the Kiss My Socks sow in that pedigree would have been the mother of the grand at OYE for Nate Warner that would have sold in this sale. So lots of really good stuff here from a bottom side of the pedigree, and then again we're talking about anthems. The first crop of anthem gilts. We're keeping a lot of anthems. I know Hilty the other night, he sold a bunch out of No Huddle, and people asked him why he was selling some. And I think Will was really quick to say, but we've got 40 more set aside that we're keeping. And I could say the same about Anthem. I mean, we've got a slug of these stashed away that we're putting into production, and my goal here was to give you a glimpse and an opportunity to get in early and get some different sows on the bottom side, and I think we've got a really neat offering of Anthem daughters. So the white-tailed one again is 211, and then these other two are 213 and 214. Those are littermate sisters. Got more crossbred open gilts. The black one coming. Actually, these first two are littermates. This narrow-belted one is a 109. McCoy, if I remember your notes right, you said lady on this one in your notes. That's 109.8 is the narrow-belted one. That's 218. And this is her sister, 219. This is the black one. Pound for pound, this black one's got as much bone as anything in the sale, in my opinion. If you're chasing bone, I hope you pay attention to that one because she is heavy-duty. We've got 5 8-litter kingpin sows here on the farm. A couple of those were show gilts. We ended up getting them all gathered up. Their sister was reserve at Ohio 2 years ago, or champion at Ohio 2 years ago. These 109s are out of an 8-litter kingpin. So again, 218 is the narrow-belted one. She's the lady. 219 is the black one, and I think Jim had bone next to her notch or her lot. Again, this is 109.9, and this is 109.8. The traditional belted one here coming towards the fence, that's a 208. She's a Houdini, and she's out of one of those black-headed in-game sows. She's a direct daughter of one of those. That's 208-6, lot 222. And then last but not least is one of my favorites, and that's this chromed up one here with the white flag tail. That's a Jugs, and I love this gilt. She to me is a great representation of the kind that Jugs sired. Their rear leg was good. They had lots of muscle. Their pin sets were wide. She's stout-skulled. She's very square. She grew well. I mean, that gilt's relatively young within this set of opens. That's 247.6, lot 210. I really wanted to have her mother in the sale. She was slated and bred for it. She didn't settle. In fact, we didn't realize that she wasn't bred until we ultrasounded. But her mother's very impressive. We have sold some kingpins out of that sow, or maternal sisters to that sow. She's a shadow lock-it-up. We've sold some kingpin lock-it-ups in the past. But again, this is a Jugs shadow lock-it-up. That's lot 210. Lot 222 is the belted one, and then the other pair litter mates are 218 and 219. Wade is driving 50-17, and I referenced this one several times when we saw her mom out here. Her mom sells as lot 10. This is a Who's on First, made to order on BKS's sister. This gilt would be a litter mate to that barrow that was Reserve Division 1 at Houston that Briley Byer showed. She's out of a litter of 18 born. This is dash 17. She's got a huge rear leg, just like her mother. She's shorter bodied. I think she's more moderate than her mother. She's got a really, really neat look up front. Lots of ways to breed that one. That's 50-17. She is lot 206, and in the sale order, she'll sell right after her mother. This really chubby, round-ribbed, stout one here in front of me is 268.7. We put that one in here for Kennedy, so he had one to sell that he could appreciate. Lot 220. She is a gangster. Her litter mate would have won his class at Houston for the Nelson family. She's a gangster, King of the Road, and King of the Road was the King of the Hill son we sold Triple B. I promise you, she looked like that at the slap barn. She looked like that as a baby pig. And whether she's open or bred, she's always going to look like that. I mean, she is naturally as good-centered as anything in the sale. This is 221-8, and I think this is one of the unique breeding pieces of the sale. She's not for everybody, but this one's got some of those extreme pieces that some folks are chasing that are trying to make borers and trying to make outliers. She's a gangster-provoked curtain call. Her mother will no doubt be a sale feature next year. We just weaned her absolute litter, and they are incredible. If you want to make notes of that, you can write down the 233s because I promise you'll probably hear about them if they've survived the nursery. This would be a litter mate to our top-selling pig at Lackey's sale last fall. Within our set, Nelson showed him. He was second in the Hampshires at Houston. Was a very neat pig. And then, of course, the curtain call sow would be the same curtain call sow that's behind those 15-litter kingpins. So incredible sow family. That's 221-8. She's lot 208. That's the one that Ellie's driving again. Gangster, provoked, curtain call. This one does sell with 2 doses of then and now semen. That's the in-game son that we bought with Sloan and with Hilty from Hofschulte. We're going to keep his semen locked down here the rest of the year or the rest of the season. But that one does sell with 2 doses out of that boar. And that'll be, I think, a very, very neat mating for her. 1412 is the one that Wade is driving. That's the black-headed, black-hipped one. She's lot 221. She's a disciple, provoked. Her mother is the mother of the Reserve Grand Bear at Ohio last summer for the foster crew. And that sow just had 12 or 13 absolutes a few days ago. That sow will be a highlight in a future sale. This is a daughter out of her that looks just like her. Their color isn't the same, but type, pattern, build, all of those things are very, very similar between those two sows. Last but not least here is 27.9. That's the belted one that Ellie's got. She's a snooze, and then she's out of one of those 244 provokes. She is out of, she's lot 217, and she's out of lot 30, I believe. 244-12 is her mom. So very, very good representation of snooze, and a very good representation of her mother, one of those 244s. Again, her mom is -12. That was Boots' pick of that trio, and she's a snooze on the top side. Wade's got, again, that's 221-8 there along the hoop, lot 208. Ellie's got lot 217. The black-headed, black-tipped one is lot 221. The really, really stout, round-ribbed one is lot 220. And then that star-headed one with the great big rear leg is 50-17. She is lot 206. Going to get into some of the white ones here in this open gilt section. Wade's got 118-11. She's an Anthem. She's sort of roan belted. Her mother sells in that choice 13 lot. 13B would be her mom. Her mom is a Kingpin, Dirty 239, and then bred back to Anthem is how we got this gilt. That's the roan belted one that Wade's got. 5-11 is the blue freckled one that Ellie's driving. Karl just kicked her. There's a love tap. 5-11, the one kind of in the center. That's a litter mate to the Reserve Yorkshire Bear at San Antonio for the Shacker crew. She is a curly Goosebumps. Her mother's actually a blue-eyed Goosebumps that would have sold in the Showcase the Influence sale in November. Obviously, this litter happened before that. And again, she's a litter mate to the Reserve Yorkshire at San Antonio. I think this one's extra good. Her mother's been a very good generator. In fact, her mother was bred to Kingpin this last time, and that gilt was the leadoff gilt that led off the spring showcase at 11.5, was a maternal sister to this blue-eyed, white-bodied 5-11. And again, she's a litter mate to the Reserve York at San Antonio. Last but not least is one that I mentioned early on, this blue one. This is a Crickets. She's a Crickets out of that solid black next intention. This Crickets is lot 223. So she's a Crickets, next intention, Dirty Secret. Her mother is selling in the sale. She is lot maybe 33, I think. Grandma would have sold in the Built the Brand sale in 21. So that's lot 223 is the one in the middle. This white one is 5-11. She's lot 203, the mate to the Yorkshire at San Antonio. And then this roan belted one, and do not miss this roan belted one. I think from an Anthem perspective, if you throw color out the window, you need to really pay attention to that one. That's lot 216. And again, her mother sells in the choice lot 13. We've got the calico. The dark calico that Ellie has is 218-7. I'm sorry, 18-7. She is lot 205. She's a dig-in dirty secret. Her mother would have sold last summer. She was a dirty secret best man. And then dig in was a trenches kingpin. He was a son of the sow that sold his lot 1 last year. This calico gilt, heads up. The calico gilt is out of the same sow as Circleback and also out of the same sow as Neighbor Boy. Love this gilt. This calico gilt's one that always seemed to come to the front of the gate there at the Slat Barn, and one that was always fun to look at. As she grew up, that's 18-7, lot 205. This really stout blue one here along the hoop, that's 57-8. She's a heater, curly. Heater was a life sentence boar that we had from Lance Kirkpatrick here at the farm that we bought with Hogs. That gilt's a very good representation of those heaters. They are extra stout. Big pinned, really stout featured. We had a class winner there at Houston out of one of those first heater litters, and this gilt would certainly be out of that first crop of those. She's a heater, curly little bro is what her pedigree reads. And then that solid white one down there is 81-8. 81-8 is a Baskin Yorkshire. Baskin is a boar that's at Schaefer's now. Baskin was a direct son of Carol. I think this gilt's unique because she's got a purebred Yorkshire mother, and then out of obviously an exotic calico boar on the top. I think this one, if you keep her white and breed her white, I think you can stay that way. If you breed her dark, I think you've got a chance to make some really neat blues. It may even be possible to make some belts going forward with her, but that's 81-8, lot 228. So again, the calico here closest to the hoop is lot 205. That blue one is lot 224, the heater, and then the white one is 81-8, lot 228. Okay, the red roan calico there is 102-5 that you're looking at. There's a pair of 102s in here. One's a belted one. This is actually lot 225, the roan one. She's a heater kingpin. Her mom's a kingpin dirty secret. Goes back to the same sow family as the lot 1 sow. Her mom will be in a future sow sale, no doubt. That's the red roan one. Again, that is 102-5. I just lost her lot number. Lot 225, sorry. The other calico that Wade's on right there is 5910. That's lot 226. She's a -8. That's one of my favorite gilts in the group. These -8s are pretty consistent. The majority of them will look like this. I think this one's got a few more extras than some of her contemporaries. Her mom is a provoked hillbilly bone. Full strut is what her pedigree is. That's the same full strut sow you'll find in those Visionaries that sold 2 summers ago. And then she's out of -8 on the top side. We sold a boar privately off the farm, mate to her, that went to Utah. That was a very neat pig. Kurt Fosloff there in Utah has him. He was a 59, a belted one, mate to that calico. The white one closest to you is 63-6. She's a Cracker Crickets. When we got some of these Crickets daughters in production, we had a chance to go back to Cracker. That one's very heavy duty. I think if you study that one from the ground up and evaluate some of her indicators, I think there's a whole bunch of structure and stoutness there to appreciate in that one. And then last but not least is lot 204. I mentioned already that the interest has been very strong on this one. She's a curly, direct curly daughter out of Cricket's sister. So she's a daughter of the lot 5 sow. And then, of course, Curly was a Cricket son. So she's double-bred Crickets. She's, I think, just a carbon copy of her mother with more look up front. I think her maturity was probably more ideal in the way that she developed. We're going to sell that pair right there together in the sow sale or in the sale order. Hopefully you can find some appreciation for the the bone and structure, the density, and some of the ancillary things that come with that here in lot 204, but that's the one walking away from you. 77.5, that's the Curly out of Cricket's sister. Carl, are these the last ones? These are the last three females to talk, and then we've got at least the three boars to run out and show you. I would say lunch is just about ready, so we're almost there. And if you've stuck with us on Facebook, thanks for tuning in. These three gilts here will be the end of the open gilt section. We've got a choice lot here, the 207s. Ellie has 207A. And then Wade's got 207B. It's fitting here. Wade actually showed this one B at Breeders' Cup. And then the Garland crew would have had the Calico one. Those are both show gilts. They're out of For the Good. Wanted to give you a chance to see these For the Goods and really what kind they are and what they represent. We've got a pretty good stash of those that I think are going to be awesome sows. We're going to sell you choice of this pair. So you can take the Belts or you can take the Calico, but you can't take them both. Again, Wade's got 207B. Ellie's got 207A, those 138s. And again, they're Kingpin Dirty Secret on the bottom side. That Dirty Secret sow would be a litter mate to the mother of Lot 1, Lot 6, Lot 7, and Lot 8. So tremendous sow family there. Carl's driving 201. And 201, she's been an outlier since she was a show pig in the show barn. This gilt was actually a show gilt for the Werning family in South Dakota. We got her back, and I don't know. This one is so different for some of our stuff in so many areas. I didn't want to sell all of her. In fact, we're only going to sell half of her. But more than anything, I wanted the public the chance to see this one in person. She's an OCD, which is the boar there at Kurt Morgan's. This gilt's mother is 247.7. That sow will be a highlight in next year's sow sale. Considered selling her this year, but she's due today, so that kind of kept her out of the fray, Carl said. I don't know. I think the boys would have lobbied pretty hard to keep her either way. A barrow that was reserve granted Breeders' Cup this year would be a maternal sib to this one. He was a gangster that Caleb Zook showed. That's one of my favorite pigs that we've ever made. I wish that one could have showed in February or March in the South. He was reserve granted at the Breeders' Cup. Would have been a maternal brother to this one. So she's an OCD, dirty loving, wedding night hillbilly bone. The wedding night sow would have come from Kirk. Ben shaking his head because he probably remembers that sow family. She was a 77. We bred her to dirty loving, and that's how we made this one's mother. She herself, her mom, is, I don't know, maybe 3 inches taller than this one, but not much bigger. Her rear leg is still bigger than this one. This one will get there someday, I think. But from a bone proportionality standpoint, we thought she was next level. Her pedigree is just a little bit different. We want to join hands with somebody in a partnership and make this one famous. That's lot 201. We're going to sell half of her today. And then again, Ellie and Wade are driving the 138s. That's lot 7, 2A, or 207A and 207B. So that concludes the female portion of it. We're going to run those three boars out here. Some of you that were here last night might have seen them. We'll show you Absolute, we'll show you Waspy, and we'll show you Move the Needle. I would tell you that I'll give you a chance to go inside, get something to eat. If you want to see some other boars, we could run them out at your leisure. We're going to have a break in between the auction. I want to give folks a chance to study their notes. We're going to have the Walton replay running in the sale room, so you'll be able to watch that. And certainly if you have questions, find Karl, Kelby, Ellie, myself, those of us that are around these pigs all the time. We'll be happy to help you. Dusty Rhodes is here again from Kansas. He's originally from Arizona. He's at K-State, and this is his second summer. He's driving Move the Needle. Again, Move the Needle is a Quite Frankly Kingpin Red Alert. Quite Frankly's pedigree is No Intro Cruel Intentions Red Alert. That's the same Red Alert sow, top and bottom. This boar was our keeper boar out of a tremendous litter of pigs. His litter mate is Simply Put at Premium Blend. That's the boar that they bought at the established last fall. That boar, that was a pig that was as good as anything we loaded to go to a sale last fall. Carl's shaking his head yes. I mean, that was one that we loved when he left. Honestly, we thought he was going to be a A-list show bearer when we loaded him, and he ended up there at Premium Blend, and they call him Simply Put. The littermate sister to this one was the gilt that we sold at PT. She set a new world record for a female, and was certainly one that we were very proud to have in our pens at Perfect Timing. That was his littermate sister. There were 2 or 3 other bears that sold in the litter. Just a phenomenal litter top to bottom. And this is the one that we called Move the Needle and the one that we wanted to keep from the get-go. I would tell you today, you're seeing more extension, you're seeing more length, you're probably seeing more lateness and maturity. From the time he was 50 pounds, I could show you videos on my phone, and at the time he was fighting weight, this one was as burly and broad and dense as they get. Kevin, you saw him in the fall. He was wild looking, and still for as burly and broad as he was, always had that really neat head, that really neat look. I don't know the count off the top of my head on how many carry his service in the sale, but it's several. I know we've got at least 35 or 40 bred to him here at the farm. We've just weaned his first 2 litters. That very first litter was out of Iggy, that gilt that we bought at Expo last year, the Cobb bred gilt. And if that tells you we bred a $32,000 gilt to him because we believed in the mating, I think this boar is destined for really great things, and we're very excited about the sows that carry his service. So that's Move the Needle. Again, he's a Quite Frankly Kingpin Red Alert. His mom, I should mention, just brought $70,000 in the exchange, Kevin, and went to Colusa, California to the Ottenwalter crew, and we know we'll hear from her again. So she was bred to Absolute. This is what we believe is the son we wanted to build around, and this is Move the Needle. Coming into view here in a second is Waspy. Ellie is driving Waspy. Waspy, I need to introduce Ellie, I guess, at the same time. Ellie came to us from California. Ellie showed a lot of really good Heimer pigs over her show career there in California. She went to Cal Poly. She spent some time in the swine unit there at Cal Poly. She spent a lot of time working for ADM Showtech on behalf of their show feed program in California, and we're very excited to have her back here in the Midwest. She's a proud new homeowner. She's kind of got all these big girl things checked off her list all of a sudden, but we're thankful that she's here to stay in Missouri for a minute and excited to have her on the team. She will be the voice on the phone. If you're calling about semen, chances are you'll get a chance to talk to Ellie. Waspy is one of the very best HH influence stories in the catalog this year. There's a whole page dedicated to his story. He's sired by Misconception. Misconception is a pig that we sold at Perfect Timing 2 falls ago. The Danner crew bought him. Misconception was out of the lot 51 sow and out of Unashamed on the top side. The Danner crew also bought a Kingpin gilt from us that spring at the sale in Iowa, Drake Hook's Pig Sale Players Only. He bought that Kingpin female. I wrote in the footnotes, Todd, that I'm sure Susan made the decision to breed Misconception to that Kingpin sow, and it was an awesome decision. It took $70,000 to buy this one at Perfect Timing. I walked up ringside and bought him, and when I turned around, some of the very best breeders in the industry were the contending bidders. I think we were all thinking the same thing. This one, to me, represented where I think we need to go with some of our pigs. His true muscle shape, his look, is that chest shot that he gives you. I mean, you guys that show pigs and raise pigs, they have to have this kind of look coming out of that gate. If they don't look like that coming out of the cut gate there at San Antonio or OIE or whatever gate they're coming out of, they're probably not going to catch a pin. And his presence is phenomenal. His gear has always been phenomenal. He got his name the first day that I made the mistake of getting in his pen and didn't pay attention. He ran me right out of it. Rear leg works. His hip is right. We love the way that he's bred. And he was a month younger, almost 6 weeks younger than these other two boars. So as a result, we didn't get him going quite as quick, and we didn't get him going quite as consistently. But we're very excited, and I'll leave you with this. I haven't made this comparison until now, but this is the closest thing that we've had on the hill to Swagger since Swagger. There's way too many similarities here, even down to the fact that this one is a little flatter. He is a little harder there in the center part of his body, and that's exactly the way Swagger was. I think this is a modern-day version of him, and we're thrilled to have him and very excited about where we're going to go with Waspy. Kelby's coming next. Kelby comes from La Mesa, Texas. Kelby was looking for a job, and I told him, I said, hey, why don't you jump in the truck, come home from Perfect Timing, and we'll give you a taste of what the pig farm's like. He was here for a week, and he loved it. He flew home, packed his bags, jumped in his truck, and came back. And he's been an absolute workhorse ever since he's been here. Carl would be my right-hand man, and I think Kelby would be Carl's right-hand man. He spends time doing everything from farrowing sows to feeding sows to making sure that Javi and Mario have what they need. He's Mr. Do-It-All. I think he's Mr. Fix-It at the same time. I'm very, very happy to have Kelby here. Kelby grew up showing pigs, and he's got a lot of passion for the business, and that's, I guess, priority number one when we hire people around here. If you're not passionate about this, it just doesn't work. Kelby's driving Absolute. I spent a lot of time talking about Absolute today as a service sire. I certainly hope you read the notes in the catalog about Absolute and how we feel about this boar and his place in our program right now. This fall, last fall, I was very committed to finding a couple boar pieces that we could put in and commit to. I wanted to buy something that made sense genetically, phenotypically, and more than anything, when we got to breeding season, I wanted to be able to turn them loose. I know Carl said it. I know Boots has said it. We've never bred as many sows to one boar as we did this one in one season. I think we bred over 100 females to him. We're already over 30 litters on the ground. We've already weaned the first 8 or 9 of those. It looks promising. I try not to get too excited about baby pigs, but it's hard not to. They're just different looking than what we're used to. I bought this one when he was about 50 pounds. He cost $41,000. I didn't tell Carl. I didn't tell Boots. I just did it. It felt right that day. Boots and Taylor fed him. I think this was Graham's favorite project this winter was to take care of Absolute. And he responded to feed. He matured the way we wanted one to mature. He's got a lot of those extras, those ancillary things that are so popular today in describing show pigs. His bone, his density, his hair, his look, his presence, that reach that he's got, the way his hips designed. And then we'll talk about his pedigree for a second. He's sired by Backslap at Moyers, a boar that certainly doesn't need an introduction. And then he's backed by one of Boble's very best sows. Larry and Ben Boble were here last night, and I was very proud that they were here to see the boar. They sold this boar's mother in the exchange. She brought $37,000. She's now at True Genetics there in Indiana. They certainly recognize when a good female's for sale. Seeing that sow and seeing her resume and seeing that family tree that was in the exchange catalog gave me even more confidence in the generating ability that this one could have. And it's really starting to unfold in front of us now with these litters on the ground. So, hey, look, we could have approached this several different ways, and Todd and I talk about this kind of thing a lot. We could have sold semen from the very beginning and shared him early and often with a lot of people. We could have not sold any semen and bred our own sows, which is what we did. We did share a little bit of semen for 3 weeks. We sold 8 doses of collection. Folks gobbled that up. They got along really well settling. Conception, fertility, litter size has been incredible so far, and that's been encouraging. What we didn't have to do, Kevin, was share these sows that are bred to him. But I believe in this sale. I believe in the importance of the sale for our program, and I believe in order to represent our females the very best we could, we had to breed the good ones this way, especially where we felt like it would work, and that's what we did. So, a lot of those key sows are carrying his service. That was completely intentional. It was completely in an effort to create opportunity for you, the buyer, and I hope the industry benefits from that, Jim. I think it'll be a really, really great opportunity. So this is Absolute. Folks have asked what we're going to do about these boars going forward from a semen sale standpoint. I don't know yet. but we're going to have a plan here once we get through this sale. So Absolute, Move the Needle, Waspy, those are the big three. Thanks for tuning in to the preview. Again, we're going to try to start the sale at 3 p.m. Central Time as close as we can with respect to the funeral there for Mr. Moore in Oklahoma. We're going to serve lunch here on the Hill, give folks plenty of time to ask questions, study their lesson. Kevin will sell them here at 3 o'clock if we can. Thanks for tuning in.